Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to a special, I would say special, but it seems like it's more regular weeknight version of BTL. It is me, of course, your favorite older friend, little Rodney, aka the old sad boy, here with Aulz, and we are pleased to bring to you Maria's Dungeon versus Iron Chefs for week. I'm honestly confused as to what week
We
this
are
game is
actually
for.
almost on the right week this time, Rod. This is technically a Week 7 matchup. We didn't have a
Okay.
single Week 7 matchup scheduled on the actual days of Week 7, so this is the first match of Week 7 here. Maria's on the blue for game number 1, and Imagine Cloud on the red. Looks like we're going to go ahead and get into draft here. So,
Yeah, we get a Yumi ban for Iron Chefs and an Aatrox ban for Maria's Dungeon. Not in that order, but yeah, I'm glad that we are catching up slowly but surely, but finally. I know Maria's had a few games to make up, if I remember correctly. As of last week, I think we had them twice last week within like 2 days of each other.
yeah,
So
at one point Maria's was 3 games behind on the schedule, so it's nice to see that they're pretty close to catching up at this point.
yeah, yeah. That said, we do have reschedules all this week as well, so we may be in your house every night. Don't go anywhere. But we do have an Elise ban and a Carthage ban. Looks like those two junglers that operate on opposite ends of the jungling scale will not be showing up. No level 2 ganks, and no, I don't see my jungler until level 13.
Come on, don't you think it's fun, losing the entire game and then suddenly a Karthus ult during the last Nexus stand turns the game around just like we've seen in Worlds a couple of times this year?
I love it when it happens for me. I hate it when I'm laning because you're just basically playing 4v5 and then hoping this person is paying enough attention to press R. But we do have an Echo ban from Maria's Dungeon, an Udyr ban from Iron Chefs, keeping up the jungle motif that they started in the second bands. And we're going to get the Misfortune coming out, most likely going for Expo, who has been the centerpiece for Maria's. I don't know if Misfortune is the best move for Expo
Well,
because Misfortune is like a low ceiling
you know,
ADC, I would say.
I like it here because Misfortune is the kind of champion that you can build a comp around. And although we saw great performance out of Fishing Frenzy last week in Maria's Dungeon's first win in Black Twitch play, Expo has, at least historically, been the player that this Maria's team has worked around. So being able to build a comp around that specific member from the word go is a good look. Meanwhile, on the side of IC, first half of the season, focus on Gruer, especially on that Echo pick, was very powerful for him. They're starting to switch a little bit more to put the focus onto Grease, and that's where that Graves is going, and I don't think teams have started to respect that yet, so we could see some big play out of the jungle here for the side of IC.
That is true. Graves is actually moving up on all of the YouTube video pick lists for junglers. Uh, I have interesting opinions, but I'm sure that Grease, excuse me, is going to do a lot better than the people I see on Graves. We do have a Kaisa picked up for Iron Chefs as well, and we're going to see Wookiee Monster on that Victor. I think we saw 3 or 4 games of Wookiee Monster on Victor last week. So well practiced, well worn, and it's going to be a Seraphine to go with it. That is a pretty nasty. If you land it all, everyone dies combo from the bot side, mid side of Maria's Dungeon.
Absolutely. However, it's a bit of a shift from what we've seen from Soul Lady that's worked well the past couple of weeks. Did really well on the Renata, did really well on the Nami. Those bubbles were nasty over the last week. And Nami, with the tidal wave, does a decent job of working together with the Misfortune. So we'll see if Soul Lady can have the same performance here on the Seraphine as she has had in the past on other enchanters here.
Yeah, has played a lot of enchanters. Has played mostly the Nami, or at least the Nami to great effect. And I am also wondering how well the Seraphine will do. But I have lots of faith based on what we've seen previously on her enchanters. And we do get the Amumu coming out for Iron Chefs. We get a Nasus ban as well. And then we see a set ban from Maria's Dungeon. Looks like one is, I feel like the Amumu pick is more of a defensive pick just to make sure it doesn't come out as the jungle for Maria's Dungeon, right? So you can't just make the everything stops moving all of the time comp, for lack of a better way to put it. But
Yeah,
we also get an Ornn. So Fishing Frenzy, the two champs we saw, we did get to see him play last week. We're not going to get to see him play tonight.
crucially, the Maokai, which has seen a lot of play by Fishing Frenzy, is still available. However, I want to touch on that Amumu for a second. First off, it does work very well with the passive from Kaisa, as it does add stacks there. In addition, Dr. Dad has played a lot of Amumu this season in BTL. So I think this is as much a comfort pick for Dr. Dad as it is a takeaway pick to keep it out of the hands of Indefiance here.
Okay, that is good to know. I actually did not realize Dr. Dad had that many Amumu games, but I'm looking back at it and you are right. But we do get a Syndra here. So it's going to be Grura on the Syndra, looking to blow up the Victor early and often and maybe prevent the scaling. We have seen a couple of games where the Victor did not get to go full Hex Core monster. But as you predicted, that is going to be the Maokai coming in, most likely going top lane, I assume, for Fishing Frenzy, with a jungle pick coming in here shortly for Maria's. Um, what do you think? What would you like to see Maria's pick here in the jungle?
There's plenty of lockdown here. What I'd like to see is a champ that can affect the game early, because right now you have a Misfortune who wants to get late, a Victor who wants to get late, a Maokai who wants to get late. So you need a champion in the jungle who can be effective early. And a Poppy does that with the Audacious Charge, with the aura of the W, some good lockdown there. First off, the ability to counter an Amumu engage if she happens to be in the bot lane, the ability to fight Graves well in the jungle, stopping the quick draw, and further on in the game, the ability to stop the Kaisa ult while still being able to be relevant in the early game. I like this pick for Indefiance, and hopefully we'll see it used to some great
Ooh,
effect here.
well, Iron Chefs picks up the Sejuani, which is another champion that Poppy can effectively take one of their core abilities and say, "Stop that, please." So that is going to be the full comp for for both teams. And like you said, the Poppy is really good at being out early. Graves is not as good, at least in my opinion, at being out early. But there's a whole lot of lockdown on both teams. I'm really curious. How do you kind of see this early game gonna go with all of these tools, where it's basically four champions on each team that have the ability to say, y'all stop moving, or at least can't move as you wish, with one champion that can, or two champions in the case of Iron Chefs, that can find those people who can't move and then make them not move for another 30 seconds.
Yeah, give them the lovely, lovely monochrome treatment. That being said, I think Maria's Dungeon has much the same in the Victor Misfortune. There's a lot of damage in both those champions' kits once you get to the late game. So it'll definitely turn into a uh, catch and control battle in the late game. The only problem I'm seeing here, Rodney, is unless these junglers do something, we're not going to have any fun for the first 20 minutes. I don't think we're going to see any action unless it starts at the hands of Indefiance and Grease.
I could see that being how it plays out. I don't believe, even if they catch each other, as or I shouldn't say catch each other, they wouldn't be chasing each other. You know exactly where you are. But I don't think Maokai and Sejuani have exactly the most explosive of laning matchups. And similarly in the bot lane, there's a whole lot of disengage. But as long as a Mumu doesn't land a Q, or the right Q, I should say, there's probably going to also be a lot of staring at each other. I do know though that Syndra really, really wants, like, once that she gets to level 3, and then again once she gets to level 6, wants to hit Victor. That is, I think, the only point where I could see where something could happen without the junglers, is Syndra landing a Scatter the Weak, getting some of those voids down, and then deciding to unleash power on Victor.
Yeah, the only problem there is with the recent rework, a lot of the early game power of Syndra has been taken away in favor of those shards. Once Syndra gets 120 shards, immediate ultimate onto whichever target is closest. However, until then, it feels more like getting hit with a pool noodle than it does getting blasted into another dimension.
That is fair. That is fair, and I was not taking into account how they had kind of gated some of the power away from it being a outplay button at all times to an outplay button sometimes. But we are very close to loading in. We have kind of discussed how we see this early game going, how we see the lane phases going. All in all, who do you think came out this draft better?
Frankly, I think that Maria's Dungeon has the easier comp to execute on. Is that a winning comp? Not necessarily, because IC has the tools to get picks. And if Graves can get a pick, if Kaisa can dash in there and execute Expo before the bullet time goes off, then these fights are going to turn on their heads. So this will come down to skill. If IC can execute on what they have, they will win. Otherwise, Maria's Dungeon should be able to take control of this game. With that being said, though, we would like y'all's opinions out in the crowd. There is a prediction up. Go ahead and use those channel points on which team you think is going to come out on top. With that being said, we're going to go on a short break, unless there's anything you want to add here, Rodney.
No, not at all. Bet all of the imaginary points because it's way safer than betting all of your real life points on this game.
Yes, please do not fall into gambling. Get help if you are addicted to gambling. This is not an anti-gambling ad, though, so we are going to go on a short break, and when we come back, game number 1, Maria's Dungeon trying to maintain their upwards trajectory here in BTL. IC trying to stay in the middle of the pack. Don't go anywhere, folks. We will be right back.
Welcome, everybody. Here we are going into game one, Maria's Dungeon against Iron Chefs. And we are going to see a little bit of a shenanigans going on here immediately from Iron Chefs. They are putting 5 people in the top side, maybe looking to make something happen. But Syndra is going to break off to go bot side. Dr. Dad leading the way in Defiance immediately sees them and drops a ward on the way out. So it's not going to be as effective as you would like. That said, Gruer trying to prevent a deep ward from coming through, but I think Expo is going to get it down anyway. Yeah, gonna get that ward down, at least waiting to get the ward down, as we do see the ward coming out from Iron Chefs onto the blue buff of Maria's Dungeon. So no harm, no foul, just a lot of vision and a little bit of posture.
Yeah, I do think that that was a bit of a bold invade, perhaps a little bit of a hopeful invade from the side of Imagine Cloud. Yes, they do have the Amumu, and the double bandage toss is certainly a powerful tool. However, at level 1 with a Kaisa and a Graves, there's not a whole lot of follow-up damage onto the tanks that they would find in the top side, because of course it would be in Defiance or Fishing Frenzy that they would run into. So just the single deep ward there, going to maybe give a little bit of information, unless Indefiance spends plenty of time on this bot side of the map.
That is true, but to go with your point though, the bandage toss does come equipped with glacial augment, which adds a little bit more slow in case you do land one early or late for that matter. But we do see some fighting going on in the top lane already. Again, just some tanky boys doing tanky boy things, hitting each other with their, or I'm sorry, Sejuani not being a tanky boy, being a tanky board riding lady and using her flail to get those tanky hits off. But yes, you see both of them trading stacks of the Grasp of the Undying, and there's an immediately trade going on in the bot lane. Dr. Dad getting hit for about 30% of his health already, not going to have the best of time. Fishing Frenzy going in onto Relish. Relish using that charge back on the Fishing Frenzy.
And
we are just
in trouble here. Look at where Grease is on the map. All the way deep into the jungle here. Both junglers have smite. It will be taken by Grease. And with Fishing Frenzy not roaming down, that doesn't get punished.
Well, Fishing Frenzy couldn't. Relish was making sure he stayed CC'd, and there you go. There's going to be the immediate game. Yeah, and the Ignite first blood from Grease. You called it. The junglers are going to be the key to the early game aggression. That said, there was a lot of work by Relish put in beforehand, where both top laners were at about 40% health before they could even think about doing anything. But Dr. Dad getting poked out. Oh my goodness. But there you go. There's a scatter of the week, and there's more damage coming on the Wookiee Monster. Wookiee Monster now being forced to flash out as it's a fight going on bot lane now. And as we get the bandage touch coming in, but it looks like Dr. Dad is going to go down. Going to be the heals coming out. CO Lady manages to survive. CO Lady also managed to get the assist as Expo is able to get the second kill. Undefiance now running away from Gruer, and Grease was able to use that steadfast presence to prevent the quick draw from getting that extra dash forward, and just able to flash over the wall.
Yeah, again, all the aggression from the junglers here. Although Dr. Dad may be binding off a bit more than he could chew, did consign both himself and Taste Green Beans to death in the bot lane. And feeding a Misfortune early is not a good look here.
Yeah, and CO Lady got a very large shield and heal off, basically. Oh, Expo stole a little bit of that camp, trying to give a nice lead.
I think he saved Indefiance there. I think Indefiance would have been in a little bit of trouble if the Misfortune hadn't taken out that other medium Krug.
He still had the buckler, though. He was fine.
Yeah, okay.
But yes, getting a little bit of a leash to at least help Indefiance's back there, as did get basically forced off the Gromp and topside a minute ago. We see Fishing Frenzy immediately back to trying to bully out this top lane, pushing out just Relish. Neither top laner did have to wind up using their teleport, so still a mostly even top lane fight, and just Relish getting the stun.
Look at all the minions, though. The minion damage is enormous. Yeah. And just Relish is the one who falls.
That final Grasp of the Undying proc, exactly what was needed. But now we see a fight going on. There's a root, there's the cleanse, but I don't think it's going to matter. Indefiance just kind of walking with them. Gonna finally have to take the kill as Expo and Soul Lady were not able to get into range, but that kind of feels good if you're a jungler. Well, I walked in and I helped, and I got the kill as a reward. That's a
Yeah.
gank.
And it's still pushing Expo and Soul Lady ahead. They get another assist, they get wave control, they get a nice cheater recall here. Expo already has a pickaxe to the 2 longswords. When he backs this time, he's going to get at least another longsword here, and that's got to feel really, really good for this Misfortune right now.
And some boots to go along with it. A little harder to hit with those bandage tosses. But in the mid lane, we do see the battle of the first strikes going on. And right now, if I'm not mistaken, Gruer is a little bit ahead on the first strike damage,
Gruer
but
may be
not
a little
that.
bit ahead, but Grease is a little bit deep right now. Look at where
Ooh.
he is on the map.
But Dr. Dad is coming through, and you see Gruer just hit level 6.
So did Wookie Monster, and Wookie Monster is going to be
Ooh.
here first. The smoke screen
Wookie
comes down. Here
just
comes
hit
Dr.
it
Dad,
on
but
that
gets blocked.
very nice steadfast presence, but I don't think it's going to matter. There's going to be the ignite, but now we do see Old Lady coming through with the saves, and that's going to be Wookie Monster going to be the first to go down to the graves. We're trying to get anything to happen. Is going to be forced to flash away, and just Relish caught on the wrong side, getting pushed around some more, and now going to maybe go down. It's going to go down. It's going to be Fishing Frenzy able to take the kill. In Defiance, tanked 2 ignites.
Yeah, and this game started off with first blood by Grease onto Fishing Frenzy. 7 straight kills for Maria's Dungeon here. Talk about a rough turnaround.
Yeah. I don't think that's how you picture that after you get that really nice first blood in top lane. But we also saw Old Lady again coming through with the very, very clutch shield hill there from the basically the empowered E from the Seraphina, was able to keep In Defiance alive, showed up at the very last moment. That I don't know if that's somewhere between communication and map awareness and just clairvoyance, but very well done. And we see more fighting going on in the bot lane. The bot lane of yeah. Oh, see, Old Lady got the kill somehow. I'm not sure how that happened, but Expo able to get the slows and then get the bullet time, and having that level lead over Taste Green Beans with no summoners. A free kill again for the bot lane of Maria's Dungeon.
Yeah, and you really have to put credit where credit is due on the shoulders of Soul Lady right now. Has 87.5% kill participation, despite the fact that we're still in laning phase. The only kill that she missed out on was the solo kill of Fishing Frenzy, where every minion in the game apparently was busy hitting just Relish.
That is true, and we are already seeing the damage come out. You just saw Expo basically take half the health off of Dr. Dad and say, hey, I don't think you want to be
Gruer
here.
might be in trouble here.
Ooh, there is going to be the steadfast presence as well as the charge, but the gravity well is not going to hold, and it's going to be a free walkout for Gruer. Didn't even have to use any summoner spells. We did see Grease kind of come through to show, and if the fight had gone a little longer, would have probably had some more damage to add, but nothing for nothing effectively. But they did manage to force Gruer out of the lane, which gives Wookie Monster some more time there to farm up, but is still behind as far as like the actually nope, I forgot.
No, Wookie Monster is
Yeah,
incredibly
is
far ahead, and
yeah.
furthermore has already hit his first Hex Core break and is already moving towards the second. And at level 7, level 8 for a Victor, that feels incredible. Already having your Death Ray doing actual damage means that we'll likely see Gruer rather, get pushed out of lane more often as the damage keeps stacking up from that poke.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Despite how traumatic it probably was for Iron Chefs, I had forgot about that fight in the bot lane or in the mid lane, excuse me, where Gruer had basically had an advantage, pushed them in, managed to make Wookie Monster miss the whole wave, but it didn't matter because he got the 2 kills and the assist. So you take that trade over 6 minions every day of the week. But that's it. We do see Fishing Frenzy in a little bit of a fight with Relish. They are always fighting and they're always healing, both of them. But there's going to be the ultimate coming out of Fishing Frenzy trying to get Relish. Gruer is nearby, but is still on the Rift Herald, not even thinking about stopping to save Relish. Relish able to get away, is going to probably does not have teleport, so he's trying to
Flash forward from Fishing Frenzy. This is going to be the kill.
Yeah. Oh, you can't stay that close. It's a point and click for a reason.
Yeah, and Fishing Frenzy is going to do the smart play here and execute, knows that Grease is in the area because, of course, the players get the Rift Herald notification. So
Yeah,
chooses to take the safe way out, doesn't give over any gold, and will just take the fast back. And knowing that
ab-
Grease is on the top side of the map means that this Drake is completely free for Indefiance. There's no way that the Graves can get over here in time.
that is 100% true. And just like that, Maria's Dungeon
Oh no,
continues this.
Grease! Grease might be in
Uh-oh.
trouble. Look at the three-man invade here, looking to find this Graves.
They're gonna
They
either
have the
get
ward.
Grease or they're gonna. Oh yeah, they're gonna get him. He is rooted. He is slowed. He is in steadfast presence. Can't dash forward. And it's gonna be Expo getting the kill. Very well done. And I thought Dr. Dad was gonna face check it as well, but they are able to get the blue buff steal plus the extra kill, and that 2-0-3 misfortune is not going to be fun to deal with, and especially with all of this heal, shield, heal that is available on Maria's Dungeon side. It's gonna be a really tough job to get the misfortune off of wherever she decides to park at.
Absolutely. And you gotta love that call from Indefiance to say, sure, sure, the first 3-4 minutes of the game, Graves, you were able to be in my jungle, you were able to do whatever you want. See, here's the thing. I got a couple of items now, and I've got friends. We're gonna make you suffer even worse.
That is true. That said, the Graves does have Umbral Glaive on Graves.
That's
They
a
hate
hard
me.
set of words.
It really is. But is able to clear out a little bit of the vision, but did not know about that pink ward that was there in the bot lane. But again, we're getting a little bit of a fight in the top lane. Relish and Fishing Frenzy all day. All day. Take each other to about half, and then one of them hits each other with their tanky abilities and gets a little bit of a heal, and they do it until somebody comes through. But we do get a teleport coming in mid lane. Wookie Monster looking to contest as they are dropping the Rift Herald. Wants to at least make sure it's only 2 charges and nothing more. And I think he's going to be able to maintain that. Relish and Frizzy still going at it. Relish gets the worst of that trade and continues to. But
Look at the poke
there's
onto Brewer, though. Just a single death ray takes out nearly a
whoop,
quarter of this Syndra's health.
yeah, and they're in Defiance coming through trying to force some action. Is able to force out the ghost. So you take that, and the Scatter the Weak, which was used defensively, does have a longer cooldown than anything else, but I think it's going to matter. Brewer's going to go ahead and take it back, saying, I don't feel safe here anymore. And it looks like there's a congregation of members of Maria's Dungeon around the bot
Speaking of
lane. That's
people
going to
who
be
shouldn't feel safe,
ooh, knocked up, flashing away, and everybody's getting off of this tower. Very well spotted. I don't know how. They just there's no wards on the bottom side of the map, so I don't know how they knew it was coming, but they knew it was coming and rotated out of the way. Very well done by the bot lane of Iron Chefs.
yeah, looking at the vision map is a story in itself. No wards except for that one pink on the upper mid river for the
Dr.
side
Dad
of a
going
magic
in.
cloud.
We get the ultimate out of CO Lady, and it's going to be the bullet time. Bullet time does take Dr. Dad incredibly low, but that is still perfectly fine as you are able to basically take the bot lane of Iron Chefs, and
This
they
is
still have
Imagine
to
Cloud.
back. Imagine Cloud. Why do we have 2 ICs? That is my bad. I've said Iron Chefs like 5 times too.
Well, here comes the re-engage. Dr. Dad doesn't have the flash, but does have the bandage toss. Can Soul Lady land the root?
Ooh.
Chooses to go for the E instead. The cleanse comes
There's
out.
the root,
Expo
but Dr.
already
Dad
gets one.
disappears.
And
Oh
Expo
my
might
God,
find
and Expo-
Taste Green Beans as well. Flashing forward will get the kill. The Seraphine
Yeah,
does
there's
fall,
Taste
but it
Green
may not matter.
Grease is able to go ahead and take down Soul Lady, but it's going to be a Wookiee Monster coming through with the advanced rotation, able to get the kill, clean up the Graves, and they are walking back in the mid lane. We got a teleport from Fishing Frenzy to make sure to hold the mid lane wave. A full team rotation, everybody down 1 for Maria's Dungeon.
Yeah, and that is a great job of keeping pressure focused on the bot lane here. Took care of the first gank with no problems. Dr. Dad blew everything trying to get onto Soul Lady and Expo and couldn't manage it. Meant that all of those summoner spells were still up for the second go round. And think of how much time that Soul Lady and Expo bought. That Wookiee Monster was able to walk from mid lane all the way down and pick up the last kill. That's a lot of time to burn there if you are a high damage comp like a Graves Kaisa.
That is, and we do see Grur trying to scatter the weak, but maybe you are the weak one, my friend. forced to walk away as that death laser, like you said earlier, it does death now. And I would not want to get hit with both parts of it. It looks like there's going to be a move for the dragon on the side of Maria's dungeon. We do have the bot lane for Imagine Cloud looking to get in here. But again, you have no vision. You aren't allowed to see what's going on in this river. And Dr. Dad
That
getting,
was 3 auto
oh my
attacks.
God,
That's not fair.
the
That just
crit, and
feels
he's forced to
bad.
use the stopwatch. Oh my goodness. The bullet time is used, but a stopwatch on the Amumu is more important right this second because it's going to be another dragon for Maria's dungeon just methodically choking out the bottom side of the map. You don't get to know where they are or what they're doing at any time if you're Imagine Cloud.
No, absolutely not. We are looking at a Cloud Soul, which is a small blessing for Imagine Cloud here, because it's probably the weakest soul here for Maria's. This isn't a Cloud Soul on a team with a Singed or with a Hecarim or with a Vayne where that extra movement speed after ult is going to be super valuable. It's a Misfortune who
That
wants to stand still. It's a Seraphine who's probably not going to be doing a whole lot of running. It's a Victor who wants to stay and blast lasers. So if they lose a
that
Cloud
is
Soul,
very true.
it's okay.
That is very true, but we do see the junglers basically splitting the map at this point. Neither one of them wanting to deal with each other. Grease on purpose in defiance just to assert dominance. But we do get the flash being forced out from Fishing Frenzy as Grease does walk into the top lane, is able to make sure that Just Relish is able to push the wave in, but it's not going to crash. And I think it's going to be first tower going down in the bot lane. They're trying to clear out the vision here, but I don't know that it's going to be enough. And it looks like Expo's going to go ahead and get this tower, first tower, and the bonus gold going over to Expo, trying to get that extra Q bounce to hit Taste Green Bean, but does not. On the other side of the map, though, Grease and Just Relish are taking the Rift Herald, so there's going to be at least be a pressure for a cross map play here, or not.
Brewer.
Yeah,
Brewer does
taking...
not get to be here, friend.
Oh no. Oh, does run to Grease though. They are roughly safe. No, you can't walk back in. There's 4 of them.
I
but
guess
gonna get away.
Didn't realize there was more than just In Defiance and Wookiee Monster there. That could have been very bad for the Syndra. And not having the Ghost is a big defensive spell that won't be available for the next time that Maria's decides to visit mid. Speaking of visiting, though, Just Relish might be in trouble, taking a lot of poke here in the top lane.
Yeah, is taking the worst end of these tank fights, absolutely. But it seems like they're basically taking that Ghost down on cooldown from Brewer. I think that's about the 3rd time we've seen it be up and be used immediately to go out the side door, which is better than it being used to go out the dead door.
Yeah, I don't think that one worked quite as well as you wanted it to, unfortunately.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to link it up in my head, but yeah, it looks like Fishing Frenzy is actually now out of mana, so he's going to be able to get away, but it is going to be the Steadfast Presence stopping the initial engagement. That is going to be the old lady going down. Expo using the cleanse, not able to get as much damage as possible, and it's Grease managing to stay alive. But here comes Wookiee Monster on the cleanup, maybe just trying to catch up with anybody, but it's going to be flashes over to Scatter the Weak. Is going to get first part of the laser as well as the gravity field, but it's not going to be enough. Grower is going to get away, and Dr. Dad lives with like 8 HP, as there's going to be a kill on the top side that we don't get to see. Just Relish able to take down Fishing Frenzy.
Actually, unfortunately for the viewers, my client decided that it was far more invested in the tank fight in the top lane, so they did get to watch Fishing Frenzy fall.
Well, hey, you got to see what was happening. Well, you heard what was happening in mid lane, and there is going to be the Rift Herald going to be dropped into the top lane, so they are going to trade a tower for a tower. The mid lane outer for the top lane inner, and it's Just Relish getting co-gold, I should say, with Grease. Or did he have the Rift Herald initially? I thought Grease had it, but I'm not 100% sure now. Hello?
Yeah, I'm just flabbergasted by the entirety of that, frankly. Sound. No. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It seemed like Maria's dungeon just completely overstepped, and with that, they've turned the gold deficit into nothing here.
It was.
I just don't know what to say.
It was very good. I think it was very good CC laying. So Dr. Dad, because y'all didn't get to see it, I get to do the play-by-play over again, but slowly, so I can break it down. I love it. Dr. Dad used Q, drew out the Steadfast Presence, then used Q again on
Wookie.
an. Oh no, buddy,
Wookie.
he's not gonna get to move, and he is just down. We're getting the shutdown kill as well. You don't have vision control everywhere in bot lane anymore, but it's the old lady able to flash away, but it's gonna get hit with the everything. Get hit with the everything. Basically, the only thing that she wasn't hit with was the unleashed power, and is gone. So just like that, it looks like it's going to be at least a little bit of pressure around this dragon for Imagine Cloud. And no, 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 no. Expo out of position, a little too far forward, and is going to be forced to flash under the tower. Is able to survive and get a
There are
giant
5
bounce
members
onto
here, though.
Brewer. Oh no. Yeah, and there's going to be the Void Seeker. There's going to be the smoke screen. They're trying to get this damage down. Brewer is going to take a lot of damage in the meantime, but it is going to be a shutdown kill, and it's going to be the gold on the green beans. What is Maria's doing?
Well, what they're doing is they're buying time for Fishing Frenzy, who took down 2 turrets during that whole time.
But they gave away about 1,000 gold in shutdown. They're not going to wind up giving up the dragon, it looks like, which is a small blessing. But a lot of golden shutdown and a tower of their own. I don't know that that was the trade I would opt into.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great, but at least unlike the last time, Maria's got something more tangible out of it. They didn't just give up kills for no reason. They did get the upside of the turret trade. They did get the Drake. Yeah, it's still a lot of pressure and tempo that's lost, but it could have been worse. It could have been the previous fight.
That
And
is true.
the other thing here is, as we mentioned, or as I mentioned at the top of the cast, Grease has become the major carry for the side of IC in recent weeks. He is the one where this entire gold lead is on. So if they can take Grease out of fights,
oh no,
these games or these fights turn right back to being Maria's favored.
Yeah, that is true, but we do see the junglers continuing to split the map, except this time it's Grease being the aggressor and in defiance on the back foot, trying to find what they can. And just like you were saying, Grease does have the Gore Drinker, already has the Coalfields Warhammer, getting a couple more camps, and it will probably be the 3-item graves that nobody likes to see. Almost a whole item ahead of in defiance, even with the way these fights were going, is up 60 CS. That's a whole lot of camps.
Yeah, absolutely is a lot of gold. However, some of that can be put down to the fact that it is a carry jungle in the Graves versus a tank jungle in the Poppy. So if In Defiance can make use of what golden items they have right now, it could find itself being just as valuable. Speaking of people in trouble, though, Brewer, though, getting flashed on, stunned into the wall, and a huge shutdown going over to In Defiance.
That is very, very good, though. I believe you want that to go to Expo, but even then, yeah, fantastic kill. Brewer a little bit too far forward. I do want to say that, as you were saying, we do have a Black Cleaver on Grease, so looking to turn that tanky jungler into a little bit less tanky of a jungler, and they are still pushing down the mid lane there for Imagine Cloud, looking to get some more pressure and allow them to kind of flex around the map so they can make sure they continue to have the vision they have around this Baron butt.
Yeah, that turret was already pretty low, so Maria's probably a little bit happy to not have to defend a struggling structure anymore. But as you said, it does open up the map a little bit for the side of Imagine Cloud, makes it a little bit harder for Maria's to continue exerting vision control over the map like they've been doing. So it'll be interesting to see if Soul Lady and In Defiance can adapt and keep up the vision pressure that they've had throughout the game so far.
We do get items. We have not actually touched on items except for a little bit just now. We do have both mid laners with the Ludens and the Shadow Flame, and some mismatch basically from both of them. Amp Tone and Doran's Ring for Brewer. Doran's Ring and Corrupting Pot for Wookiee Monster. As we stated, we have the Umbral Glaive, Black Cleaver, and Gore Drinker. Grease looking to be absolutely shredding the two tanks of Maria's dungeon, and we do have the tanks themselves. Oh no, it's the old lady just barely able to get away. And there you go. There's going to be a Rift Scuttle, taken by Origin Cloud, they are continuing to be able to see things, which is such a marked improvement from the like 10 to 10-minute to 20-minute mark in the bot side. But we get in Defiance going on to Relish. Relish probably not the best target, just kind of standing there, not really worried. And now we see Grease coming through, and that is going to be in Defiance going down. Does use the ultimate, but it's not going to matter as now Grease is looking onto this Baron with no jungler available for Maria's Dungeon. I don't know that they are going to be able to contest this. They do have the everybody standing in one place comp, and it looks like that might be enough to scare off. It is. Imagine Cloud, even without the jungler on Maria's Dungeon, says, I don't want to take all the damage from you plus all the damage from Baron, and they're going to back off. And with the mid lane prio, it looks like they're going to start walking into the bot lane. Maria's Dungeon looking to get this Soul Dragon.
Yeah, and that was absolutely the right call from Imagine Cloud. With the Maokai TPing in, with both the Seraphine and Misfortune ults available, staying in that Baron pit would have been suicide for all 5 members of Imagine Cloud. Grease, decently tanky, but still can't take a full bullet time. Just Relish, already super low. So they could not have stood up to Maria's, and that would have been just as much as leashing a Baron for this Maria's team. We will, however, see some big fighting over this Drake as IC looks to stop the bleeding a little bit on the neutral objectives.
Yes, they are. And we do see Relish and Fishing Frenzy continuing the tank fight on the backside. We do have the ultimate coming out, and it is going to be the cleanse used there. Oh my goodness. Dr. Dad does get in, but it's going to be Expo getting the kill. A very nice ultimate coming out from the Steel Lady, and it's going to be another ultimate. Expo is not able to get the kill on the Gruer, but they're trying so hard. It's going to be the Chaos Storm finally takes out Gruer. Expo trying to take out Relish now. Grease being the only member left, and he's taking some significant damage. Maybe able to pull it out. No, it's going to be the kill by Expo, getting the shutdown gold, and there's only 2 people left on the map. Unfortunately, they are both on Maria's Dungeon side for Imagine Cloud.
Fights may not be quite as clean as they were in the first 10 minutes of the game, but I don't think Maria's is going to particularly care here. They got the 5 for 3. They've got the Drake. Now sitting on Soul with a 6-minute timer till Elder, Maria's has to feel pretty confident here, moving into the last bit of the game.
I got it halfway right. It is Imagine Cloud, not Iron Cloud. But by the end of the game, I'll be saying Imagine Cloud successfully every time. It's because I just look at IC and went Iron Chef, and I apologize to Imagine Cloud if they would like to, I don't know, send me a sternly worded letter. I understand. But
don't worry, they're used to flaming us in the production booth. I get a whole lot of flame for how I write about them in the power rankings each week, so you will hear plenty from these guys.
Well, we always welcome the engagement. We're glad they're at least paying attention to what we say. But we do have now the setup going around this top side for Maria's Dungeon, looking to start clearing out as much vision as they humanly can, getting the pink ward on the Baron, just maneuvering. But there is a lot of wards already in position from Imagine Cloud. Done a good job at least trying to maintain the vision. But now you see it's starting to get dark.
Yeah, looking at the red vision right now, the only thing that they really have left is that opening to the river by the chickens, and that's not going to be enough to keep a Baron from coming here. Grease will be face checking 3, does have the sweepers, so he sees it coming out. No pick onto the graves, because that would have been a free Baron. And it looks like, in fact, Maria's Dungeon is going to be the ones pushed out of this upper river. Grease, being flanked by Dad and Green Beans, will move his way through, try and get some of these wards cleared. Does give Soul Lady and Expo the chance to move back into the top red buff jungle and clear out some vision of their own. The back and forth will continue, but Dr. Dad and Grease coming very close. Ships in the night with Indefiance. Just Relish, you cannot walk that way, my friend, is being flanked by Indefiance. The Hog will try and get out, but gets stunned up. The Chaos Storm not quite out, but here comes the bullet time onto 3 members. 3 members are rooted. The Charm comes out from Seraphine as well. Grease is already dead. Dr. Dad will be soon to follow. The Bola from Sejuani trying to buy space for the rest of his team to get out, but it will not matter. Taste Green Beans falls to the victor. And with a 3-0 here, the Baron is as good as Maria's. In Defiance, a little bit low, but the Seraphine Empowered W will heal her right back up. And with all 5 members here, there is no chance for a flashless Brewer to steal. This will be Baron going over to Maria's. And with the health bars that they have, they might not even need to reset. Wookiee Monster and Expo can look to push through the mid lane here. But instead, they will get that gold spent, buy some fun items, and look for the last push here with Baron. They have all 5 members empowered, so they could do it. 5 already streaming towards the mid lane. So this will be the last chance for Imagine Cloud to save this game. But it looks like Just Relish trying to get some pressure down on the top side, trying in vain to force one of these members of Maria's to respond. They know that the Sejuani will not be fast enough, will not be able to do anything to cause issues. One turret has already fallen, the inhibitor going down rapidly as well, and at some point, Imagine Cloud needs to make a move. Dr. Dad going in, cannot find the angle for the Curse of the Sad Mummy, and will fall without using the ultimate. Here comes Just Relish, better late than never with the teleport, as Wookiee Monster gets stunned up very, very low, but Grease dies before they can find Wookiee Monster. On the back side of the fight, Taste Green Beans fell to Fishing Frenzy, and with Just Relish left, Just Relish is going back to Cabbage, dead as can be. Brewer, now the only member alive, managed to escape from Fishing Frenzy on the backside of that fight, but it will not be enough. One man cannot hold against 5. The first Nexus turret is falling. Fishing Frenzy tanking up the second, seems not to care as the second falls. Expo flashing forward, trying to get the last auto attack onto the Syndra. Will not manage it, but the Nexus is already dead. And Maria's Dungeon said, you know, we've had enough fun playing around. We have to just end this game. Wins a fight, wins another fight, gets the Drake, wins another fight, gets the Baron, and runs it straight down the mid lane to end the game. And really, this was a fight from the entirety of Maria's Dungeon. No single player stepped up and said, I need to be the solo carry here. Wookiee Monster 9-2, Expo 8-1-12, but props need to be given to Soul Lady 3-3-19 everywhere on the map in the early game, and to Fishing Frenzy, who took a lot of the pressure in the early game. For the side of Imagine Cloud, gonna have to try and come back from that because they had clawed that game a little bit back into their wheelhouse and then just lost control. So perhaps need to change, maybe give Grease a little bit more of a supporting cast here. Let Brewer go back to showing why he was the carry in the early half of the split here, so that they can have multiple points of power and push through this Maria's Dungeon team who's looking cleaner than ever. However, with that being said, we're going to send it to a short break here as these two teams get ready for game number 2. Maria's Dungeon trying to make this a clean 2-0. Imagine Cloud trying to force us to a game 3. We'll get into draft as soon as we come back, so don't go anywhere, folks.
All right, we are back. Game two. Imagine Cloud, Maria's Dungeon. Imagine Cloud is now on the blue side, and they are going to ban out the Karthus yet again. No one wants to see a Karthus. I can understand why. It's just an anti fun champion. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
possibly literally in the lore.
that being said, Imagine Cloud needs to think about swapping up their plan here. Couldn't manage to put it together in game number one. They're going to need to win two in a row if they want to win out here and stay at least close to 500 to end the season, currently sitting at 2-4. A loss would put them down to 2-5.
That is true. And we do have to take into consideration that the season, unfortunately, is winding down. But we do get Udyr ban and a Victor ban for Imagine Cloud. The Echo ban coming out for Maria's Dungeon. And then Aatrox ban. Hey, these bans look vaguely familiar with the exception of the Victor, which we also did see last time. Just picked, not banned. And that's going to be the Yuumi going through. That's what you were waiting on, that little change. Theirs goes doon 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 dicka doon doon, but ours goes doon 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 dicka doon doon dink, and we get Yuumi. There you go. You're getting the Lucian for Maria's Dungeon and the Nami as well. We have seen this for Expo and Steel Lady a lot, and this is like a signature pick almost. They should do one of those. They don't do those anymore. Man, I keep bringing up old references. Back when they would be like, I'm Double Lift, and this is my pocket pick. I'm Biofrost, and this is my pocket pick. This seems pretty pocket picky for Expo and Seal Lady, but we do see a Sivir in answer. We've also seen this exact bot lane matchup a couple of times, the Sivir Yuumi versus the Nami Lucian.
Yeah, I'm tempted to give this one over to Maria's Dungeon just because of the level of comfort that we've seen out of Soul Lady on the fish. But if Dr. Dad and Taste Green Beans can sync up well on these Sivir Yuumi plays, it could easily swing in their direction. The Renekton, though, is a very bold choice in the top lane.
Yes, and we're going to get to see the Ornn. Fishing Frenzy said, "Oh, you picked the top laner. I don't have to worry about not getting my picks getting countered out. I'm gonna lock in my Ornn." On face, seems like Maria's Dungeon got everything they would want.
Yeah, you tend to think so here. The question is, do the bans from Imagine Cloud focus more on Wookiee Monster or more on In Defiance here? Both of them fairly strong players, and it looks like they're going to turn on In Defiance first with the Poppy being taken away.
Yeah, that said, we do get the Sidra ban, so Maria's Dungeon at least showing a little bit of respect for what they saw out last game, not wanting to deal with the Syndra again. But yeah, they banned out the Poppy. They said, we don't want to see that either. I do like that both teams are at least acknowledging, like, I didn't like the thing that happened last game. You're going to have to do something different. But it's going to be a Trundle ban coming out from Maria's Dungeon, making sure that no one's going to steal those beautiful, beautiful, tasty orange stats. And it's going to be a Pantheon ban for Imagine Cloud on the same cycle.
Yeah, lots of junglers getting taken off the table here. Not a whole lot of focus onto Wookiee Monster. The Victor has already been removed, but it is a champion pool as deep as it is wide, we have been told. So it will be interesting to see what Wookiee can pull out here.
That is true, and we have seen Wookiee play other things, so it's not like we don't have any evidence to go back with. And there it is. It's going to be a Veigar pick. They are picking it sight unseen into the mid lane for Greer to counter. So you do have to wonder, oh, is it going to be an Anivia?
Looks like it very well might be an Anivia here for Brewer to try and counter this Veigar. The funny button doesn't work if you have a second form to turn into it, of course.
What? It switched to Elise Sin. They might have changed their minds. I also agree. I do like that Anivia has a built-in outplay to the outplay button, but it's going to be a Silas into the Veigar. Silas actually can steal the outplay button and then make bigger outplays, which can be a problem if you're on the other side. And suddenly a Silas jumps on you, does a bunch of Silas things, whips his chains around like he's That reference is not okay, except in advanced level history class. And then he presses R.
Good
Um,
grief, man. Can't have you on my casting desk anytime, I swear.
but it looks like it's gonna be a Nocturne coming through to keep up the motif of chains jokes that I will not be making for Maria's Dungeon.
Good
Just like
grief.
that.
Well, I'm a little bit concerned by this Nocturne pick in particular. You see the Silas. The Silas
Oh my
can
goodness.
steal your ultimates, and you give him one of the strongest map-wide engage ultimates in the game. That seems a little bit suspicious to me. That doesn't seem like a good choice.
You know, you're making some very good points. I will counter though that I really like Maria's Dungeon's plan of we have a Lucian Nami that should win early over just about anything. And then we have a Ornn and a Vigar which scales to your absolute imagination or until you break the server. And Ornn who can then add a little bit more on that scaling. And then you have a Nocturne who can both carry both early mid game and still be a problem if you catch somebody out in the late game. I really, really like this comp, with the exception, of course, that Silas can just steal everyone's coolest thing. Like I again, as an ADC, seeing a Silas jump in, steal the Vigar R, and then press R on you does not sound appealing.
Yeah, no, it's certainly not fun, especially for a champion like Vigar, who doesn't get the same tank or healing stats that Silas does, obviously. Builds a little bit more tanky being melee, and gets a lot of healing back from that Kingslayer. So
And
Silas with
doesn't
the...
have the mobility. That's to me is the biggest worry. Is that like when you're playing against Vigar's right there. Vigar's not gonna hop on you. Not once. When you're playing against Silas can like jump from almost half a screen, a full screen away, and then suddenly, in addition to being CC'd from a where you possibly could not have seen, you're dead
Yeah,
instantly. That that gives me the kind of like the heebie-jeebies, but like when you see somebody else take a really painful fall and you kind of shake in your own body because you're like, I'm glad that didn't happen to me, but I kind of feel it. That's how I feel about that Silas dashing forward and then pressing R on the back line. That said, on top of which, it's gonna have a Yumi that I assume is eventually gonna abandon the Sivir for helping the Silas do that.
ooh, I'm not so sure about that. Sivir getting that Yumi sat on means that she gets to move a whole lot faster, means that she gets to put out those bouncing blades, and that puts out a lot of damage throughout the game. Especially late when the Sivir has 3-4 items and can start to really hurt.
That is true, but and this is the even worser part. She can do both.
This is true.
Yumi can literally hop onto Silas, make Silas dash you faster, shield him, heal him, and especially if it's the AP build that we've been seeing, shield him and heal him for a lot, and then hop back to Sivir after Silas is already basically ate through the initial whatever you landed on him. So Sivir can put out more damage as well.
That's very true.
That could be a problem.
Final thoughts here,
Basically,
Rodney. Out of
there's
draft,
a lot
which
of
team won?
problems. There's a lot of problems that each team presents for each other, and I am not a mathematician. But my final thoughts is, like you said last game, I like Maria's comp. I like all the things it does. However, I do think Imagine Cloud does have like the tools that you would need to basically say, I can do what you do, but better if executed correctly. So I feel like we've just literally handed each other's script from Champ Select in game one because yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Well, I see
Uh,
not able to get the execution in game one, unfortunately for them. Going to try to pull it out here in game number two. We're going to throw the poll up here in just a moment, so remember to get your votes in However, in the meantime, we are going to step aside for a very quick break as these teams load into game. When we come back, Imagine Cloud tries to keep their last match of the season alive, while Maria's tries to continue their upward trajectory. If you want to know how this game
Prediction,
ends,
predict.
we'll have the answers right here, so don't go anywhere.
Don't.
I smoke too much. I drink too much. I tell myself that I can't stop. We could see clearly now. 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 Clearly now. Clearly now. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. That I can't stop. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. Can't stop. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now.
Holding on to what I know, to everything I've learned. What is real and fabricated? What is wrong? What is my problem? What can I get out of this world that I created? Fighting the storms in my head. Don't know where I have been. I'm alone, no one to turn to, no one understands. Shit's too complicated. Away, and I feel like I am someone else. Away, and I feel like I don't know myself, no. Away, and I feel like I don't know my name. And I don't want to live this way. I don't wanna keep on wasting a life. I'm drowning in my head, I'm losing the mind. And if you could know, yeah, if I could show you, I don't wanna keep on living this life so faceless.
One. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back onto the Rift. The teams are ready and moving out onto the fields of justice. Imagine Cloud on the blue side trying to claw this back to a 3-game series. Maria's Dungeon on the red trying to close out their second 2-0 in as many matches.
Yeah, and we're not going to see any evades. No shenanigans going on here. Looks like it's going to be everybody standing at a 5 point, no weird 4-on-1 for deep vision or anything. So both teams guessing a little bit more about what's going to happen in the early game. We do have first strike on Expo. I don't think that's what he ran last. What was it? Thursday when he
I
got the
do
Lucian
think
Nami.
I do think that was what he ran last time. I think Expo was the odd one out here, having been running the first strike consistently. Since we had called attention to that before, that Expo was running the first strike, and it was I
Who's
can't
that?
remember who it was, but it was someone we cast in the last couple of days that picked the Lucian Nami as well and chose to run the PTA, which is the more standard route
Yeah.
here.
You know what? I believe you are right. But yes, we do have Expo on the first strike, which is both not standard and, from the looks of it, the only rune choice that's going to be a little bit out of the normal. That said, both junglers starting on their top sides going to mirror each other, maybe going down. Lee Sin, of course, wants to be a little bit more active in the early game than Shadow Man, whose name eluded me. Nocturne, excuse me. Nocturne does, of course, do a little bit better once he gets to level 6, is able to traverse the whole map. But so far, all of the poke is just regular poke. Expo getting a lot onto Dr. Dad, already being forced to jump back onto the Sivir. That said, getting poke onto Yumi is a lot more important than, or not less important, excuse me, than getting poke onto a Mumu was. Yumi able to basically hide behind her ADC.
However, the nice thing about that poke is it will make it more difficult for Dr. Dad to hop off, get those bop and blocks off, and with the high cost of the abilities that Yumi has, not being able to get the mana from the bop and blocks is a major detriment to her laning.
That is true. So we can hopefully maybe see a little bit of a deterred Yumi, but we get a little bit of a top fight going on again. It's Fishing Frenzy just beating up Just Relish, absolutely unworried about any slicing, any dicing, any dashing, just hitting him with a hammer. That's how you stop that. He's got a knife, I got a hammer. It's fine. And it's going to be the first kid coming on, and his Grease trying to get onto and is getting onto Soul Lady. Soul Lady is trying to flash away, but it's going to be the first blood onto Grease. Expo just walking it out. Very well done from the jungler of Imagine Cloud.
Yeah, nice kill by Grease, recognizing that Expo and Soul Lady were pushed up really heavily with no vision there, did successfully punish. However, it was just onto Soul Lady, which means that Expo shouldn't lose too many minions off this, shouldn't lose too much pressure or experience, so won't fall too far behind Taste Green Beans.
That is very much true, and is actually being able to catch this wave. So even though Taste Green Beans is going to be able to back and come back with an extra item, Expo is going to actually be able to collect more gold overall. And because Taste Green Beans didn't even get an assist, I think actually kind of comes out behind from the whole endeavor. That's it. We do get Greer going on to Wookiee Monster. Wookiee Monster trying to get him started in the event horizon, but it's not going to be enough. Greer definitely winning that trade. Wookiee Monster just kind of walking it out is going to be okay for the time being, but that is not a winner, for lack of a better way to put it.
No, and that's a warning of what is to come for Wookiee Monster. Got to be a little bit faster with those event horizons, a little bit more precise with the locations of them. Also want to call attention to the fact that the item that Taste Green Beans got was just the coal. Not a whole lot of damage potential there.
I thought they started with the Cull and went to the longsword, but you are correct. The Cull does not have enough stacks for that. But yeah, only got 10 AD bonus for a gank, and it's not going to be a lead that holds, basically, because Expo still has more gold and probably a little bit of a level advantage at this point.
Yeah, currently sitting with 1,000 gold in pocket. Will likely greed for the Noon Quiver here. Not a whole lot of threat onto the nearly full health Lucian right now coming out of Taste Green Beans and Dr. Dad. Wookiee Monster is a little bit under more threat, though.
Yeah, but is going to be staying safe, is mostly out of range of any sort of play there by Grease and Greer looking to get onto it. We get a little bit of poke there from Expo on the Taste Green Beans, but the damage coming back from that Yumi-empowered Sivir is enough. But oh no, Wookiee Monster now in trouble, does flash, does use the event horizon, and it's gonna keep Grease under tower to take a tower shot, but it's not going to be enough. It's a little too far forward, and it's going to be another kill for that jungler. The Lee Sin already ahead. We said that Lee Sin wanted to be an early game monster and is doing his part.
Yeah, interesting. I think I saw an auto attack go through there while Grease was stunned up.
It did kind of look like that, yes.
Not quite sure
Uh,
what the deal is with that. That being said, though, Grease may be winning
Yeah.
in kills right now, but in Defiance, hard farming up a Storm, currently
Ooh.
up 2 camps. And once he hits level 6, will start to become present on the map here. So this lead
That
might be a little bit transient for Grease.
That is and is definitely possible. But we do also see the Iron Spike whip coming through. We do get a flash coming out from Relish onto Fishing Frenzy. Fishing Frenzy is going to be okay. Like, hey, bro, I was in the middle of making my stuff. Why would you do that? But is under the tower. We have already seen the ultimate come out from Just Relish, not looking to fight, but it's going to be the Call of the Forge God basically used to clear the minion wave. Not going to get anything else. And they don't know that Grease is. Oh, no, they what? Grease was on a ward.
Yeah,
Warding very important.
Grease spotted out there, so they will not try and dive onto Fishing Frenzy. But the circle back might be enough. Here comes the stolen Nocturne ultimate from Gruer onto Wookiee Monster, but that's not the fight that matters here. Is Fishing Frenzy getting dove, will get the knockup onto Just Relish, but the healing from Triumph will be enough. Grease secures his 3rd kill of the game in his 3rd different lane.
I got the opposite of what we got last game. I got to see the non-fight mid lane and was like, oh yeah, Nocturne's gonna come and join it. Nope. But Nocturne is gonna go ahead and get onto the dragon. Looks like it's gonna be a free dragon to supplement, I guess you'd say, the kills that they are behind on. But we do again see Expo and Soul Lady getting some nice damage, getting some nice push. Does have the Noon Quiver now, is up 13 CS, is gonna go ahead and walk to the dragon, but is ahead in damage. Again, for the help that they received from Grease. Grease did not actually help the bot lane there. And it's going to be Expo and Soul Lady ahead. Plus, with that Infernal Dragon damage, if they can pick a fight that can't be dodged out of or walked away from, they should be able to win it.
Yeah, and this is one of the problems with the Sivir. Sivir really needs about 2 items to come online, and the Coal will help with that over time for Taste Green Beans. But for Grease, who is currently sitting on a ward, friend, you cannot do that. Might be in trouble here, as here comes the Nocturne ultimate in Defiance, ready to go, and Fishing Frenzy here as well. Can Grease get over the wall? Will flash, and now we're going to have a 3-on-2. Gruer stealing the Primordial Burst. But Lee Sin is still on the wrong side of this fight. Fishing Frenzy will cut him off from the Blast Plant, but it looks like Maria's Dungeon more interested in Gruer right now. Abscond abducts to get away, and that will be the end of that. What a
There are
comedy.
5 members here. 5 members here from Maria's Dungeon. They rotated up, so even though they are not able to get the fight, they are going to be able to get the Rift Herald. Maybe, unless there's a very nice steal from Grease, but it looks like he's going to go ahead and say, you can have that. I don't want to risk this fight and give away that little bit of shutdown gold. And just like that, getting caught out of position at least gives a... Oh, he's on a ward again. He just doesn't know when he's on a ward. There's going to be the knock up there coming out from Fishing Frenzy. He's trying to get onto Grease. It's going to be the Call of the Forge God going down, going to get hit by the Dragon Kick, and everybody's going to walk away just fine. Expo clearing that mid lane wave. In Defiance picks up the Rift Herald, but there is some solace for Imagine Cloud. They are able to get a couple of plates onto their bot laner that should help clean up that gold difference that was existing in the bot lane.
Yeah, gold difference down to about 150 now. As I was saying before that comedy of a fight, Sivir really needs this gold, needs to get to about 1, probably closer to 2 items before she can really stand up to the Lucian. Meanwhile, Expo on the Lucian, happy to start fights at half an item, happy to take fights at an item. So even with Grease's help so far in the bot lane, this will still be a serious trough for at least the next few minutes in this bot lane for Imagine Cloud.
Very, very true. And we do see again Lucian pushing out immediately, probably going to take a back, did collect that mid lane wave as well. And if he does not, will be a little bit behind in the item fight this time. But we do see Fishing Frenzy getting the knock up onto Just Relish, getting a little bit of damage, but Relish not too worried about it. Does have all of those tools in the Renekton kit ready and at their disposal. All of them down now between Call the Meek and the heal that comes off of the... Is it the Ruthless Predator that it comes off of?
No, Cole the Meek is the one with the healing.
Okay. That makes sense. I know one does a heal, one does a slice, one does a
Here
jump
comes the
forward, but that's going to be
Nocturnal.
the ultimate coming out, and it's going to be a very nice flash from Taste Green Beans. Absolute wonderful reactions. Once you realize that Nocturne is coming for you and you're under your tower, getting under your tower is the best defense you can have. But we do also see Greens there ready to back him up, making sure that there's not going to be any follow up as well. It's just been no actual effect from these ultimates coming out from Nocturne.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate here for Indefiance, not able to make an effect on the map, and has also lost his CS lead in the jungle. So Greece
Yeah.
not only doing a better job of interacting with,
Ooh.
interacting with the map, also doing a better job of finding the camps. So this could
Yeah.
be problematic for Maria's Dungeon if Greece can continue to push the tempo and push his lead in this game.
Yeah, sorry about that. I thought more was going to come out of that prowling projectile than just delaying him back. But it is going to be the full completed Gale Force coming out for the Lucian, ready to rock up about, well, at the time of backing was up about 20 CS, but it's now going to be evened up again. So it should be a completed mythic item for Taste Green Beans as well. We do have the Everfrost coming out for the mid lane of Maria's Dragon, but we don't have a completed mythic item yet. Oh no. Taste Green Beans does not have a completed mythic item. What?
No,
It's the call. It's the call. It's the 350 for the call.
Well, no, it's that Taste Green Beans decided to purchase full boots there.
Oh.
Prioritizing full boots over the completed
right.
item.
That makes way more sense than being 350 short on the with the call. I like your method better of actually looking at what they bought. But
It turns
it
out
is
the
still-
item list is important for a reason.
yeah, fair. But does not have that mythic, and again, that Gale Force is going to add a little bit more dash, and we see it immediately from Expo. Expo is going to dash away, dash in, and not in that order, and get a significant amount of damage, as well as the final chapter. I forget which chapter we're on, but it is the final chapter from the Yumi that's going to be able to keep Taste Green Beans alive. In the meantime, there's going to be a dragon fight, maybe Gur going on to Wookiee Monster at the same time. It's going to be the Everfrost use. There we do see the Dominus coming out from Renekton, going to be the Call of the Forge God hitting the Renekton, but nobody's going to go down. Literally nobody's going to go down. Oh no, he's going into the back line. It's going to be the kick coming out, but it's not going to kill anybody. And yet again, everybody walks away. 2 more ultimates used. Nothing matters.
2 more ultimates used. The Rift Herald dropped. The Dragon Take stopped. So absolutely nothing coming out of this fight, although it looks like Greece now will finally complete the neutral objective.
Yeah,
Took them long enough.
teleport from Fishing Frenzy. No teleport from Relish. Relish did just walk back, so we'll be able to teleport to a lane or ward of their choosing. But yeah, literally, what is that? 4 ults on the side of Maria's Dungeon. 1, 2, 3, 4 ults on the side of Imagine Cloud. A couple summoners. A dragon changes hands, and they stopped a Rift Herald from charging.
Yeah, and for the side of Maria's, as long as you can avoid dying there, you're not particularly worried. Because you didn't die anymore. You didn't feed Grease any further. It's just 1 Drake. You already took the early Infernal, so you're not particularly worried about just giving off a cloud. Wookiee Monster could be in trouble. With Grease circling around, the Prowling Projectile will connect. Here comes the Resonating Strike, and Wookiee Monster is Wookiee gone.
And Gur, just like I predicted, because it was super hard to predict, and who could have seen it coming, dashes forward, and uses the Stolen's Primordial Burst to take out Wookiee Monster for the free kill. It is 4-0 though. It is 4-0 and a almost 4,000 gold lead there for Imagine Cloud.
Yeah, it is a 4,000 gold lead. However, 1,400 of that is sitting on the Lee Sin, and of the rest, another 500 sitting on the Yumi, who isn't particularly the strongest member here, especially not going the pure healing build, which is what we're seeing.
That is true, but there's some nice little Oh, no, never mind. I thought they were going to try to take the tower with the Ornn and the Nocturne, but they're going to back off as we do see the teleport coming out from Relish. The teleport they didn't have to use for that bot lane fight. Look at it coming back to be helpful. Taste Greenbean having the ult away and is trying to go down, but we're going to get switched around to the top line as we get Fishing Frenzy and in Defiance fighting just Relish. We do get the Call of Forge God, and it's going to be just Relish going down as... Oh, I thought the Call of the Forge God was also going to hit Grease. It does not, but they are fighting this Rift Herald. It looks like in Defiance, maybe able to take it. No, it's going to be a Q coming in from Grease, and there's going to be a stolen Call of the Forge God being used from Grur, and they're able to take down Fishing Frenzy, and it's going to be a double kill. Grease is able to take out in Defiance, and now they're chasing down Wookiee Monster, and there's not a lot of places you can go, my friend. Gonna go down. Triple kill for the Lee Sin. You don't want to fight him right now.
No, you really don't. However, this could be looking like another problem for Magic Cloud, and it's the same thing we saw last game. Everything is going on to Grease. That fight had 3 opportunities for Guru to get a kill. All of them went to Grease. If Grease wants to win this game, he needs to remember that he is on an early game champion, and he needs to start enabling his other members. Because right now, if I'm a Maria's Dungeons shot caller, I say, cool, we kill Lee Sin, and there's nothing else that IC can do to us.
Well,
So they're going to have to play a little bit carefully here.
You know, you're making a very good point, but to quote the late great Kobe Bryant, there is no I in team, but there is a me in that mother. So Grease just has to kill everybody all the time. That's it. That's the solution, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
So far, so good. But yeah, to your point, there was a lot of opportunities there for kills to go to Grur, especially the Vigar. Vigar wasn't going anywhere. Vigar was definitely not going anywhere. It wasn't going to be able to get down enough damage to kill anyone, having already used the Primordial Burst. I do agree with you. I think Grur could have used a little bit of that extra gold. That said, does have the Crown of the Shattered Queen coming in, going to be even more annoying to kill, CC, peel, etc. Going to eat that first CC ability or any general ability just because. So not going to be even more fun to deal with. We do have the Gore Drinker coming out for Grease. We do have a Blade of the Rune King for that. Renekton's going to be able to eat through the Ornn a little bit more. We haven't seen Fishing Frenzy winning these top lane fights as well as they did last game. And just like that, we do see more damage coming on. We do get the ultimates being used, all of them being used, but it's going to be CC'd up as in Defiance, and it looks like he's going to go down. Dr. Dan gets the kill with the final chapter, stunning him under the tower.
That's not quite what I meant by letting other people get kills, but I'll take it. I will take it.
It was kind of effective though.
Yeah, it did the job. That is true.
That said, we did see all 3 ults, the bot lane plus the jungler of Maria's Dungeon using their ultimates, trying to dive Taste Greenbeans, and Taste Greenbeans came out not only okay, able to heal, gets an assist, and is now going to be well on the way to that second item you were talking about.
Yeah, starting to get some gold in his pocket. The Rift Herald will be dropped mid lane, but it's a little bit too late as first turret and an objective bounty claimed by Fishing Frenzy in the top lane. That's some nice gold in the pockets of this Ornn and the team at large. Rift Herald does help get the mid turret though, so a little bit of a positive on the side of Magic Cloud, as well as the first Ocean Drake of the game. So they will be on track for a 30-minute soul.
And there is still the stolen Paranoia. So in case there was a challenge for that, there was the ability basically to black out the screen on the side of Guru. Actually, kind of. I don't know if you would be quick enough, but if we get a double Paranoia where nobody can see anything, I love those. There we go. We get Expo trying to get on the Taste Greenbeans. Actually has to flash away. Sees just Relish come over that side using the Dominus. And just like that, it looks like it's going to be even more pressure coming out of this bot lane. They are doing their absolute best to make sure that Taste Greenbean and Dr. Dad get to that good place you were talking about, where the Sivir can start to do all of that damage from the bouncing blades and the ricochet. But there we go. We get the stolen paranoia being used, and it's going to be the unstoppable from Fishing Frenzy. Gonna be walking away, going to keep fighting Greer. There's going to be a teleport coming out from Wookiee Monster. Here we go. Call of the Forge God. There's going to be the second paranoia as he's on to Greer, but we do have the Lee Sin, the kick, the Q, the damage not enough. He's not going to get the execute, and it's going to be in Defiance living, but the primordial burst is not enough, and that's going to be the teleport from Just Relish. Is able to clean up the Nocturne on the backside, and now Greer is in a bad place. Or is that Grease? Grease is in a bad place. Greer is in a slightly better place, but not the best. Fishing Frenzy still looks like it's going to go down, and it's going to be a kill for Just Relish. Get something for that teleport. Much better team play coming out of Imagine Cloud than we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, and a bit of split focus from Maria's dungeon there. Couldn't seem to decide whether to go on Grease or Greer, and the indecision cost everyone their lives. Once Greer was able to pick up the first kill, Grease got the triumph, healed up, meant that there was no way that Fishing Frenzy could kill him, led the Ram to his death, and now it's going to end in a Baron at 21 minutes for this Imagine Cloud squad. And Maria's might be about time to think about how they can close this jungle gap in Game 3, because it sure feels like we're heading that way.
Yeah, I was skeptical about banning out the Poppy.
Rodney,
Poppy was...
it sounds like we're losing you, my friend. You are very quiet, very staticky, and very far away.
Is that better?
That is significantly better.
Sorry about that. I don't know. I think I bumped my table and kind of slightly disconnected my cable there. But I was skeptical about that Poppy ban just because I feel like Poppy wasn't as effective or as, I shouldn't say effective, as impactful of a jungler as was possibly out there. But it looks like that was exactly what Imagine Cloud needed to do, because In Defiance has not been able to get anything going with these Nocturne ults. And honestly, the best two Nocturne ults we've seen have been from Greer.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really been lackluster play all across the map. Fishing Frenzy has been fine in the top lane. Held his own against Just Relish early, has been punished by a bunch of ganks and a bunch of team fights. In Defiance, as you said, not able to use the ults. Wookiee Monster, sure, it's a Vigar, he'll scale. Currently sitting on 158 stacks with only 330 AP at 22 minutes. That feels a little bit bad for the Vigar here. Lucian Nami in the bot lane. This is your power point. This is the point that should be pushing this team in the early game. Expo's 0-0 and 0. Expo has not contributed to the game for better or worse. You need more out of this ADC.
Ooh, I thought they were going to try and rotate for him, but they're just going to walk down and take this mid lane tower for free. But yeah, you are absolutely right. They have not been able to enable the bot lane, and now it's coming to a point where this should be where your Nocturne and your Vigar are carrying, and they are also not quite ready yet. As these towers are going down, you're not going to have a lot more time to wait for them to come through. But they have said, we do see the event horizon. They are able to hit Greer with something. Greer good as get knocked out. We get the call of the Forge God, and it's not going to be returned. And just like that, Expo is going to go down the final chapter plus everything else, and it's going to be a double kill going on for Taste Green Beans as they are able to get these kills. Ward hop. Q. Kill.
And Grease got in very deep there. But with how far down these carries are, all the lockdown in the world does not matter to this Lee Sin. And with that, we're probably going to see the end of the game here, unless Fishing Frenzy can pull off a miracle.
Does get a kill, though. Does get a kill.
Does get a kill, but it is too little and far too late. One last wave could be
enough. They're going to have to
back
away. I think they're going to have to back away. Yeah.
Very
going to
defensive
have to
play
back
here.
away. I think they're going to go to this dragon, but they do get an inhibitor and a Nexus tower. But Imagine Cloud not looking to go ahead and force the end with their Baron buff. Probably going to try and force a fight here, but they are down a member. Just Relish did take a little too many tower shots trying to end the game or trying to get a tower hit or more. So Fishing Frenzy's sacrifice was not in vain, but we do see Greer here fighting with In Defiance. Is going to get feared, but not afraid at all. In Defiance trying to get away, and it's not going to. It's just going to go down. A very nice knockup, and it looks like they're going to be again able to take down Just Relish. Relish seems to be the feeder in the game
Yeah,
on
perfect
the side
games
of
from
Magic Cloud.
every other player on Imagine Cloud so far. But as a top laner, you accept that sometimes you're just going to be the one who dies in order to enable your team. And with Indefy instead, there is no defense for this dragon. Will fall down, and although they don't have the Baron, it does feel like a bit of an inevitability that I Imagine Cloud rather, will just walk one of these lanes in within the next couple of minutes and end this game. Don't want to let Wookiee Monster scale to the point where he's actually able to do damage after all.
That is true. And you do see Grease kind of hovering the tower they're actually sieging, excuse me, trying to get behind anyone who's unfortunate enough to try and defend, but they are at least going to have enough wave clear to make sure that it takes a little longer than you want to get those extra towers. Of course, Vigart can use all of those abilities to take things down basically in one hit at this point. Does have enough AP for that, if not enough AP to actually kill anyone. But it's basically going to stall out, I think, until the Baron comes up, because Imagine Cloud looks like they're playing to not throw their lead, and Mad just doesn't have any tools to force anything right now.
And props to Imagine Cloud. This is a good reaction to the last game, where they started to get some of the leads back in their favor, and then they threw it away. Playing more defensively is good under that mindset, but they still do have to, actually end the game.
That is fair, but we do have the Baron coming up in about 30 seconds. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen really soon, or not at all. It could just be one of those games where the other team just never really does anything, but I don't think that's how Maria Dungeon wants to go out. We do have a little bit of fight going on up here in the top lane. Fishing Frenzy and Just Relish, and they're, oh no, here come the reinforcements coming through. Fishing Frenzy, you gotta leave. Run! Is going to live. Just barely. It's going to be the Ignite, is going to dodge away from the Resonating Strike, and is going to be mostly okay, but is going to have to at least back as this Baron is coming up. Does have Teleport, but you see that's another point of pressure that they're allowed to push down for Imagine Cloud. They're going to most likely be able to take that tower, and if not that, clear out some of that jungle presence. Yeah, it actually looks like they're going to be able to do both, as it's going to be in Defiance looking to back as well. They are getting the wards down, looking to see what they can do, but also always having that resort back to Baron in their back pocket.
Yeah, Baron Vision completely dead for the side of Maria's here, playing very much on the back foot. Not sure if it's testament to Fishing Frenzy's defensive ability or whether it's just where Ironclad. I did the same thing. Imagine Cloud has chosen to put their resources that only now are we seeing that top lane outer turret fall. But with all 5 members of Imagine Cloud on this Baron, unless we see a huge call of the Forge God here, this is going to be the second Baron in the pockets of IC.
It could come through. They are continuing to get wards on it, and we do now have the convergence of all the players. Everybody wants to see what's going to happen, wants to see what they can make. We did see a very nice steal the other night, and yet again, just the presence from the players of Maria's Dungeon is enough to force Imagine Cloud off of the Baron. They said, no, we don't need to do this yet. You need to go back to defend your base, and we'll try again when you have even less vision. But now the inhibitors respond, so there's less pressure to be applied mid lane. But Grease going in to hit the wards, taking all of that Baron damage and absolutely unfazed, because has kind of transitioned into a little bit of a tanky build. Still not like the tankiest tank ever to tank, but can take a little bit of damage as well as being able to at least kick and Q execute whoever is caught out.
Yeah, but that is absolutely a win for Maria's. You keep the Baron off the map. Of course, Fexpo dies here. All bets are off. But you keep the Baron off the map. You don't give up any kills. You get to go back in and clear out some of this vision. Now the only problem is you're facing down an Ocean Soul as well. If you're Maria's, the calculus becomes, are you going to try and stop the Soul, or are you going to take the Baron?
It looks like they are not trying to stop the Soul, unless something really, really crazy is going on right here. But we do have Expo on basically the wrong side of the map, with no Flash, with no Gale Force, upgraded Gale Force, Typhoon. Okay, it's going to get a back off now. does have the Orn item, but yeah, because of that fight where he started to engage, and Dr. Dad said, "Well, I have a final chapter, and we can close the book on you if you want." And he said, "No, not quite yet, not quite yet." Does not have any escape or engage abilities, and now we're seeing In Defiance maybe getting caught out there, gonna get hit with the resonating strike. Is 3 levels down. Eesh.
Yeah, In Defiance does not get to exist this game. And here's the problem with the calculus for Maria's that I didn't mention. Taste Green Beans is big enough to be able to take the Drake on their own.
Oh, here we go. The Call of the Forge guy coming down. We do also get a Paranoia, but nothing is seen, nothing is done, and it's just going to be the flash from Just Relish able to get him away safely. We do have the bot lane down on the Dragon, but they run really, really fast. They will be there before the, yeah, they're already at the river. Dragon's not even done. The stolen Call of the Forge guy hits 2, and it looks like it's going to be In Defiance just going down. Taste Green Beans on the backside, going to be able to take down the Ornn as well, and the Baron is able to take out Wookiee Monster. Oh no, Greer trying to get on the back line now. Is not going to get bubbled up, dashes away, but it's not really going to matter as the remaining members of Imagine Cloud are on that mid lane inhibitor, and it looks like they're going to try to take it down. We do see Expo still going, hey, I am Aleutian. I will fight you. But we'll go. Oh, does get the kill. Just barely with like 3 health, but it doesn't matter. That's going to be the absolute best way to win a team fight, which is knocking down the Nexus. Imagine Cloud, take game 2, and we're going to have a game 3.
Yeah, this is the series that keeps on trucking. And Imagine Cloud looked clean from A to Z there. Maria's Dungeon just not able to get a foothold. The Lucian unimpressive in the bot lane. The Vigart never spun up. Nocturne couldn't find a Paranoia that caused any fear. And Fishing Frenzy, well, he's a tank. What's he gonna do?
Yeah, I am amazed at what I just saw, because Expo and Soul Lady got the Lucianami. That should have, like, to my knowledge, that's basically been it. And we do see that Expo still did the most damage in the game. Was a problem, but was mostly a solved problem. Did not even get a kill until 22 minutes into the game. Like, it was so surprising to see how not impactful that bot lane was. And I don't think I even in the games we've seen where Maria's Dungeons lost, I haven't seen anybody take them out of a game like that.
Yeah, that was a incredible deconstruction by Imagine Cloud. Maria's Dungeon is gonna really have to think about what they need to change moving into the final game here. And Imagine Cloud might just want to run it back the same way they did. That being said, we're going to step aside for a couple of minutes here to let these teams get prepped for Game 3. When we come back, which of these teams takes this match and ends their season on a high note? Well, it's not going to be Maria's Dungeon because they've got another game in a couple of days. But this is technically Week 7, still technically the end of the season. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes, so don't go anywhere, folks.
Can't nobody tell me nothing. Made it through the rain and rain. I turn nothing into something. No more dealing with their assumptions. Cause I do what I gotta do and I know, can't nobody do it like me. All they do is judge me for who I might be. Maybe if they took some time to pick my mind, they see that I'm cooler than lemons and iced tea. All I wanna do is live it up with the homies. Everybody really talking as if they know me. But I guess I gotta face it. I'm so tired of being faceless.
I don't wanna keep on wasting life. I'm drowning in my head, I'm losing the mind. And if you could know, yeah, if I could show you, I don't wanna keep on living this life so faceless.
I've got a premonition, I'm dreaming you and I. All my darkest fears are coming outside. We got a billion races, we got this melody, and you can trust me, baby, we got everything. Call me whenever you feel alone, babe. And when you need to cry, I'll be by your side. Call me whenever you need someone, babe. And when you need to escape from 1,000 fires, I'm gonna kiss you wherever you are. And I'm gonna miss you, I will never lie. Call me whenever you need someone, babe. We're running in the jungle of love. Jungle of love.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 3 here for the first match of week 7. Maria's Dungeon on the blue side here for the final game. Imagine Cloud taking red. After a close victory in game number 1 for Maria's Dungeon, Imagine Cloud said, oh yeah, it's time for us to wake up and play League of Legends, and absolutely stomp Maria's into the ground. Rodney, what do we have to see from Maria's Dungeon here in game 3 to avoid seeing what we saw in game number 2?
Anything from the jungle mid matchup. Anything from those two. Literally like 5,000 more damage from those two last game probably carries the game. Like, it was close until it wasn't, but there was like a negative amount of effect from the mid and jungle, waiting for the mid to scale up. The ultimates coming out of Nocturne were non-existent at the best of times. But yeah, we do get the bans coming out. We got the Elise, the Aatrox, and the Sylas. Maria's Dungeon saying, no, we're not going to deal with that again. And they're going to first pick the Victor for Wookiee Monster, the Victor, which was very instrumental in game 1. We do have Imagine Cloud banning out the Yuumi. They said, if we can't have it, you can't either. And we want to make sure you don't have it to begin with. But we do get an Echo pick because that new permutation of banning out the Sylas does enable that Echo.
Yeah, the Echo, equally possible that it could go on Grease or Brewer here. Both of them have played it to good effect. So a bit of a flex here, and they won't show anything more with the Aphelios clearly for Taste Green Beans.
I wonder, does Maria's Dungeon go back to the Lucian Nami? The Lucian Nami was not bad. They just got out everything to buy the amount of pressure that was able to be applied every time they tried to get aggressive. Plus, there's no Yuumi to save them, but it looks like it's going to be a Lulu and something else.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't love the Lucian Nami here because the problem wasn't so much that IC was responding to it. The problem was that Expo and Soul Lady couldn't find kills.
Ooh,
So
are we going to get a Juggermaw?
we may be getting
Juggermaw?
a Juggermaw here, as Kog'Maw Lulu is the pick. Unless IC chooses to pick it up here, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Shen ban.
Oh no, it's not going to be a Juggernaut. It's going to be a Varus. They switched it on us at the last second. Got my hopes up too, because who just doesn't love to watch a champion that either is going to shred your whole team or die instantly, no in-betweens. Love it. But we are going to get the third pick coming out from Imagine Cloud. Yeah, I don't know if a Shin ban is going to come up, but
Well,
I'm
now that it's
willing
not
to-
a Kog'Maw anymore, it's
yeah.
I will say I'm a little bit surprised that Maria's Dungeon pivoted to the Varus as opposed to the Twitch, which has been a really popular pairing with the Lulu recently. Twitch,
Yes.
pretty hard to find with the ambush, real solid damage with the spray and pray, and the expunge works really well with the Whimsy. But
I agree.
maybe not
and
Expo's cool.
I'm also a little bit surprised considering how well Soul Lady has done on the Nami that we didn't see them pick the Nami anyway. Nami is good with other champions. Is still a very, high tier, highly contested support as we see Imagine Cloud take the Nami to go with the Aphelios. So I agree. I was a little perplexed by the bot lane pick, but that has been the strongest point for Maria's Dungeon. So I think they know what they're doing, and I think I think that they know better than I do.
Okay, maybe we don't fall down that particular rabbit hole, shall we? Looks like Maria's Dungeon is confident that this Echo is going to Grewer. So they're banning out Greece's champions here. They may be in for a
Oh,
rude surprise when another mid laner gets picked here.
that is true, but we do get basically the Ornn pick by Just Relish with the Nasus ban. So they are still effectively putting a pinch on Fishing Frenzy's pool. We did
Maokai
see
is available. Maokai is one of
that's
Fishing Frenzy's favorite champions.
that's
Maokai
true.
will likely be the pick here unless Fishing Frenzy wants to go on to a Bruiser.
Oh, he tricked
I
me.
am
I thought he was
psychic.
gonna pick the Malphite. Yes,
Ladies and
you are
gentlemen, it's
correct.
almost like I've been around this league for 7 weeks and know what these players
We-
like to play.
We have only seen Fishing Frenzy really play those three champions. So I was wondering if maybe we were gonna get a switch it up. I think Ornn enjoys this matchup, if I am not mistaken.
It's
But it's still tank
a
versus
pool
tank.
noodle
I
battle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I enjoy this matchup, I'm going to snowball. More of a I enjoy this matchup, you are not a threat to me. But we do get In Defiance on the Graves, so we are going to have to find out if In Defiance has decided that, you know what, screw you. You did this to me for 2 games. I'm gonna beat you up now. It's my turn to poke you in the eye, or if it's gonna backfire. Because, are we gonna? No way.
The
No way.
Blitzcrank is absolutely
No way.
not. The J4 is more likely here. And I like this shift from Maria's Dungeon because this pinches the pool of Greece. They say either you take the Echo out of Grewer's hands, where it has had serious effect throughout the season, or you put yourself on a champ that's 3rd, 4th, 5th in your pool, and you might not be able to perform as well as you have in games 1 and 2. I like that adjustment, and it'll be interesting to see if In Defiance can pilot this Graves well here.
I am only upset that it's not going to that you can't show me the Blitzcrank jungle, which is absolutely making solo queue the worst, and not play it. Okay, that's the only thing that I am upset about here. I do agree. I do like the changes from Maria's Dungeon, but I actually really like what Imagine Cloud put together better. They basically have 5 champ. They built the bootleg version of Maria's Dungeons comp from game 1, basically, where we have 5 champions that we can take this little area and everybody dies and nobody moves. And Maria's Dungeon has the same but not the same, but they're now relying on the execution, I think, right?
I would tend to say so. However, we've already seen the Victor work from Wookiee Monster. We know the Maokai from Fishing Frenzy is solid. The Graves is a question mark. Expo has historically been great as an ADC, struggled last game, hopefully can shake off those cobwebs. And of course, Soul Lady on the Enchanters, very comfortable. So we know that in theory, each of these players has the chops to execute.
So
Will it show
one
up
of the
today?
things
Who knows?
One of the things I do want to note, though, we have normally, except for maybe 2 games that I can recall, we have seen Expo on at least semi-mobile ADCs.
This is very true.
This is a change where Expo is not solely able to say, I'm safe. And it becomes more of a task on the rest of the team. I understand you have a Lulu, and Lulu does give you a couple of ways to be safe, but that's not going to do anything for a Cataclysm, and kind of won't do anything for a Tidal Wave as well. It's basically, you're still going to be there, you just be bigger.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's going to be pressure on Expo to have the in-fight positioning intrinsically without any safety spells. We'll have to see if he can pull that off.
Yeah, I believe in Expo. Expo is the new, I don't know, I can't think of which North American ADC. Makes me sad some days anymore.
What's the last time
Danny?
we've had a relevant North American ADC?
Danny? I think it's Danny at this point. I really do. Um,
Gosh.
and unfortunately, Danny didn't make it to World. But with any luck, Expo can at least make it to the Gauntlet. So we will find out here very shortly.
Well,
Don't
here's
forget
the
to make your
thing.
predictions.
Everyone's gonna make it to the gauntlet. All five teams who are out of
Hang
the.
on. But but Danny didn't make it to Worlds because Danny had a family emergency. We're hoping that Expo makes it to the Gauntlet. Like, hopefully everything's okay. Doesn't have the same pitfall there.
Fair
Sorry,
enough.
I didn't draw the parallel strong enough with like, yeah, new exciting ADC. Oh no, something happened. Please don't let anything happen. Uh, did not mean to jinx you. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Um,
Let's not have this be where our caster curse comes out in force, please.
please. But yes, please make your predictions nonetheless on who you see coming out with the game 3 win. Will it be Maria's Dungeon? Will it be Imagine Cloud? We have had a lot of fun. Both games have basically been a ton of fighting with one team not I don't even want to say coming out on top. One team effectively going, our fight is better this time. And that's been the game. So we'll see who came out ahead or if maybe it's an even game. If it's an even game, this may go like 60 minutes of just team fights.
No, 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 don't curse us like this. In any case, we will be here for every minute of it, and we will bring every minute of the action hot and ready to all of you on Twitch. So stick around, folks. We'll have all the action right here.
Oh, darling, if I had bought you flowers, would you still be here by my side? Yeah, I thought this moment could be ours while I'm walking only through the night. You can break my bones, break all the promises, but leave me alone. Don't break my heart. You should fucking stay with him. Fucking stay with him. Darling, if I had bought you flowers, what if you stayed at home the night? Yeah, I've been lonely counting hours while I'm getting blinded by the light. You can break my bones, break all the promises, but leave me alone. Don't break my heart. You should fucking stay with him. Fucking stay with him. Break my bones, break all I can't turn down the noise, tear all the worries out of my mind. About who I'm supposed to be, I start to believe I can't get it right. Remember the days I let slip away, they were simpler times.
Ladies
All
and...
right.
Oop, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, all right, we are back, and also so is Fishing Frenzy, who had a little bit of a load-in issue, but it looks like everybody is good to go. And there are 5 members of Maria's Dungeon walking together. That can only mean one thing: shenanigans. They are
Shenanigans
in this
are
bush.
always fun. Nobody's gonna get
Oh,
caught out quite yet, but just Relish in their sights. If this
I
Orin
don't,
walks forward, he will be in trouble.
I don't think he will though, and I don't think there's enough anything from them to hurt the Orin. That said, Orin does not
Oh
step up.
no, we're seeing the complete just dismissal of any sanity. Maria's Dungeon going for the late top lane tri-bush invade. What
Uh-oh,
is
are they going to be
this?
seen? They're not seen. There is a ward on the
They don't
red
know.
buff there,
They don't know.
but they
Just
don't.
Relish is going to walk through this, and Just
Oh
Relish is going to
no!
die to
And
the
it's first blood
Varus.
to Expo. On top of it all, the one person you generally don't want to have the first blood. We were talking about earlier how Varus was Lulu pressed heal. What?
Lulu, so used to having the ignite, pressed the heal, will not have that for the next couple of minutes in lane. But if there's a benefit to that, I don't think that Imagine Cloud noticed. So
That
they will not play
is
around it.
hopefully true. But we do see both junglers starting on their bot side. It is going to be In Defiance spotted out, but I think they know that Grease started on his bot side too. Just they got a hunch.
Just a bit of an idea, knowing that the leash topside was dead.
But we do have, like I said, Expo does have the immediate damage, or excuse me, not damage, gold lead. We were talking about how it was a long time until they were into and onto the Expo kills things portion of the game. They did not waste any time getting there this time.
No, by no stretch of the imagination. Just Relish, not having fun in the topside, only has the refill pot, apparently forgot to buy items. This is not a good look for the Imagine Cloud top laner, who is not having a good day.
Yeah, the top lane not enjoying this so far. Is also getting a little bit bullied off his wave. Is going to have a little possibility for help here. Grease is pathing towards the top side, but is not looking there so far. Trying to just get those camps up. Not going to see any cheesy level 2 or level 3 gank. And just as I say, it's going to go out into the river, looking to go into mid and get onto Wookiee Monster. We'll see if anything develops. But at the same time, we see Indefiant starting to path up the top side. This is going to be like the dueling. Oh no, he's going to walk directly into Grease. We do have a fight going on bot lane as well. Expo taking a significant amount of damage. And there's going to be the knock up into the almost stun. It's going to be the gravity field not getting the return stun. So
Fight continues though.
flash taking out.
Indefiance is here, and Grease taking a fair bit of damage, forced to flag and drag out.
Yeah, but they don't have to flash. And that flash on Victor is a big deal. That is the premier way to not die if you're Victor right now. And you see Grease is still there. He's ready. He's ready to go.
The
Wants
bot
to
lane
take
of
that fight
Maria's
again.
Dungeon is roaming up though, so this will be a 4-on-2.
Ooh,
As in the top
Relish is
side,
fighting Fishing Frenzy
is
as well.
losing pretty badly here, down to under 100 health. Will get hit by the E, but the knockback from the Bramble Smash might buy enough time for Fishing Frenzy to get out.
Yeah, is going to be able to survive. Very nice use of that Bramble Smash to get the knock away before the Unstoppable is back up to basically knock him up against the wall and kind of trap him there for that damage, but not winning the wet noodle fight at all. His noodles might have been a little too al dente.
Yeah, for the Maokai, unfortunately, the Sap Magic has such a high cooldown in the early game and such a low heal percentage that you don't actually get much out of it. So Fishing
Oh, he
Frenzy
did
just
stick
doesn't
around, though.
have the health available. Speaking of health not available, Expo flashing
Oh.
away but still gets hit by the root. The exhaust is
Oh, no,
available
Grease
but
is
no
here.
flash, and Grease will secure the kill for Taste Green Beans and now might find it onto Soul Lady as well. The flash will not be enough, or will it? No, a double kill for the Aphelios. Indefiance is here in the top lane but doesn't have enough damage to cut through the early game Ornn.
So that heal
Was
turned out
important.
to be something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely, but yeah, we do get to see Greece just again being that early game bully. Said, "Hey, I noticed you felt like you were laning safely. I don't like that." It came down and got the gank off, and on top of which now, well, the healer is going to be back up, but all the rest of the summoners for the bot lane are gone. And like we said before, this is not a mobile AD carry that we're used to seeing for Expo, so can be ganked and re-ganked and stunned and bubbled and knocked up and cataclysmed for anything for basically for the next, what, 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, more or less. We do see In Defiance making something of this pressure from Greece, though, getting the invade, getting a couple of camps stolen away, and continuing to put some pressure onto Brewer and Just Relish, making sure that they don't get to bully their respective laners. So it's
Yeah, but
something out of them.
Greece is linking back around. He's not
Greece,
seen.
very deep, but is also alone here. Will find Expo and Soul Lady, and we'll have to use that flag and drag defensively here over the wall. Correct call
Yeah,
by
that was
Greece not to
almost
take
a
that fight.
problem. I thought, and I think Greece thought as well, that the bot lane was going to continue to push up, but they did not, and he's able to get out. But definitely had the same thought that I was talking about. Said they have no summoners and they have no dashes. I will return. But we do see now, having finally gotten items, Just Relish still down a solid chunk of gold. Does have the no magic mantle, but again, does not. That what is that? 15.
15 CS at the
Might
moment,
make.
yeah.
It will likely make up some of it with the added minions in the lane, but it's probably going to still be down at least a whole wave, and there's going to be a dragon going down for Greece as well. Again, able to take this this early game pressure, excuse me, and extend it everywhere except the top lane, it looks like, but we will see if that'll happen as well. We do have Guru pushing in Wookiee Monster again. Wookiee Monster already out of mana, will likely have to TP back, does have the flash coming back up. So as you see, Greece is taking the chickens. Look like also was positioning for a dive. May still be in position for a dive, actually. That could be a problem for Wookiee Monster.
Yeah, could be. However, Wookiee Monster does have the item advantage right now.
Put
has
the ward
core
down.
pot. The ward will go down. See Grease here, so no dive. In Defiance, though, getting invaded on his red buff. And with the way the wave is in mid lane, Wookiee Monster cannot really respond to this. Gets lucky in that IC chooses not to push any further.
Yeah, In Defiance is able to get the buff, but only by the mercy of Grease, basically. As Grease and Brewer were able to, like you said, they could have contested if they chose to, but chose not to. We do see now Wookiee Monster starting to walk out. We've seen this a couple times, actually, where Grease was setting up for a dive and Wookiee Monster was able to get that ward over into the chicken pit. Probably knows a little bit about Grease doing this, is my guess, because that happened, what, 2 or 3 times between last game and this game, where they were just like, hey, I bet he's over here trying to jump over this wall.
Mm-hmm. And we do see as well, I want to call attention to the power point for Wookiee Monster. Has gotten his first 100 stacks, has gotten his first Hex Core upgrade. This is the point where the lane starts to turn into a victor's favor. And it happened earlier because of that level 1 kill. So now Brewer has to play a little bit more carefully, has to respect the poke coming out of Wookiee Monster a bit more. And we could see this mid lane start to become even more of a pressure point than it already is. Wookiee Monster is up 15 CS. That's not nothing here.
That is true. That is very true. And like you said, does have a little bit more damage on that death laser, a little bit more killy. It's maybe not a death laser, but it's like a my legs are numb laser, right? And with a little bit of time, it's gonna be doing all of that damage. That's it. We do have the gold lead finally coming through for Expo to be shown. Does have the completed Berserker Greaves to go with the Noon Quiver, which is much more, well, not much more, but just the 300 gold, 300 functional gold more than Taste Green Bean. But I don't like what Grease has done the last 5 minutes, or last 4 or 5 minutes, where basically he blew Summoner's mid lane, blew Summoner's bot lane, and then really didn't have a chance to return to either lane.
Yeah, Grease has kind of been locked back into his jungle long enough that they bought time for all of those summoner spells to come up. And if you're a laner, you hate that because you said, look, we spent all that time and effort getting these spells out. The least you can do is return gank for me. Sure, they got an Earth Drake. That is one Earth Drake. Unless they can start stacking Drakes, which will require at least one more before it starts being remotely terrifying to the side of Maria's, that's a
Right.
weak win here.
And it's going to be harder to do because Wookiee Monster is now going to have that wave clear and is going to be able to basically keep mid lane at a neutral state, so you can't push him in. And with that flash, you got to work a little harder to push him off. You got to basically get 2 ganks or 2 engages on him before you're ready to go. So yeah, I would have liked to have seen a return to either of those lanes before the spells were back up to help kind of accentuate that lead, like you said. But we do have all of the items coming in. Pieces of the items, I should say. We do have
Hey,
the
look
top
at where
laners.
Grease is. Grease, how did you get
He-
there? Why are
he
you
wants
sitting
that.
there?
He wants that wraparound. In Defiance doesn't see him though. In Defiance is just over there.
In
chilling,
Defiance,
doesn't
we'll
see him.
see him the moment he walks into this bush, dragging these
Will
rocks.
he?
There he goes.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh
Oh,
my
man.
gosh, what are we watching here, Rod? I tell you
Yeah.
what.
This is, you know, when I used to be a spry young man, I played real sports. Now I just play electronic sports because I'm old and fat. But I had coaches and they'd always say, don't get too cute. Sometimes you can just go in the front door. I think, oh, there we go. We do get the call of Ford got him. It looks like Fishing Frenzy is in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get the Bramble Smash to walk away. Does live. So just a trade of ultimates from the top laners.
Rift
And
Herald
there we
being
go.
dropped here in the bot lane. Either this IC team does respond or they will take the Drake and lose some turret plates. Looks like they're going to try and get the circle around here. All 3 members of Maria's have to be careful, but here comes the TP from the Maokai. There is no ultimate available. However, the Chains of Corruption do come out onto Grease, trying to buy enough time. In Defiance is the first to fall, and here comes Fishing Frenzy. Better late than never as they try and go on to Gru, who still has the Chrono Shift available. Expo down to about half health as Grease looking for a way to re-engage this fight. But Wookiee Monster has walked down as well. The Ornn with no way to join this fight means that this will stay a 4v4. But it looks like IC has successfully disengaged.
Yeah, Ornn is, I think, perfectly okay with that. It's, what, a 1-for-1? No, a 1-for-0. Excuse me, 1-for-0 with no dragon going down, plates going on to people who Ornn doesn't really care about. Yeah, Ornn is perfectly happy to take those plates and maybe even take more. Might get 3 plates, doesn't lose dragon. That is the ideal condition for IC there. They are more than happy with everything that happened. They gave up 2 plates to get a kill and get 3 plates, 4 plates on the other side. Oh my god.
Yeah, we'll stick to just 3 for now at least, but that 4th plate pretty close to going down.
Yeah.
So Fishing Frenzy will have to play very careful here in the top lane. Well, very careful might mean finding a kill onto Just Relish here. No ultimates available for either, but the Nature's Grasp will be up sooner. However, look at where Brewer is trying to roam up, trying to put pressure onto Fishing Frenzy to make sure that he doesn't go for that engage.
I like that I caster cursed my own analogy. I was just saying that Imagine Cloud did all of that work, and then Grease was just trying to get too cute, doing extra stuff, trying to get the super wraparound unseen gank when they should just walk in the front door. And as I'm saying it, they're like, okay, we can walk in the front door.
Yeah.
Came down and did exactly what they needed to do, but they don't get the dragon. So in the long run, not as effective a play as you would have liked after you kill their jungler. You don't get the dragon on the same side you already killed their jungler. So still very well played for Maria's Dungeon, able to make sure that they don't give up the neutral objective even after the jungler dies.
Yeah,
here
comes the tidal wave looking for Expo. The Gale Force will buy enough space for the tidal wave to disappear, actually. Well, you say he needs the movement spell to be a good ADC, perhaps. Gale Force is a pretty good movement spell.
That is true. Does use the Gale Force, does have a much shorter cooldown than the Flash, and the Flash is coming back up again. So Expo has done a really good job of not being punished
Flash
or being
for Chains of
immobile.
Corruptions will not connect.
Yeah, and there's going to be another walkout. basically there's been a lot of action around the bot lane, and nobody's actually had to pay for it in anything other than summoner spells. As it is, Dr. Dad able to flash away. I'm gonna say this is because everybody's playing at such a high level that no one can capitalize on others' mistakes, right?
Yeah, we'll call it that. Expo gets rooted up here.
Oh,
Taste Green means
no.
maybe in trouble, though, as the Wild Growth comes out. The Polymorph and the shutdown for In Defiance. Now Dr. Dad with no flash gets exhausted, and who will that kill go over to? It goes to Expo. So 2 kills in the bot lane for Maria's. Even that score back up.
Yeah, and very nicely done by In Defiance, having the restraint to let Expo go ahead and get that second kill, but they did not realize that In Defiance was just hiding out in that bush there. So when they went to engage, was able to just turn it around. Plus the Wild Growth, so well done from Soul Lady, but it is going to be the Rift Herald on the other side. Fishing Frenzy trying to get some. Oh no,
Here
are
comes Wookiee
going to have a
Monster
fight.
in Defiance on the way as well. Grease will get the knock-up onto Wookiee Monster, but here comes the Nature's Grass. Call of the Forge God is coming through, but Just Relish does not find quite the angle onto Wookiee Monster. It will not matter as Gruer has already gotten 1 kill. Grease very, very low. Fishing Frenzy trying to get the angle. The Flag and Drag will buy a little bit of space for this jungler, but it is not enough as Fishing Frenzy gets 1. Gruer now in trouble, has to use the Chrono Break at some point soon. Here the Flash Forward from In Defiance will take the kill, and that's going to be a 2 for 2 here. The Rift Herald does fall in favor of IC.
Yeah, well, we said we wanted to see more from In Defiance. In Defiance is showing us right now that can at least auto and do damage. They were not able to take down the Rift Herald, but were able to even up the fight. So we love to see it. Again, it was the flashes out of In Defiance. Wookiee Monster. There we go. There's another fight. Yeah, it does get the chance of corruption, but it's going to be the cleanse out of Taste Green Bean. Going to also be the tidal wave that was used by Dr. Dad. Able to keep them both safe in the meantime. The Gale Force as well, though. So they did get 2 of the 3 important spells off of Taste Green Bean there for an ultimate, basically, for Expo. So that's a worth trade.
Hey, Rod.
Yes?
How much gold does In Defiance have in his pocket right now without hitting the X button? How much gold does In Defiance have in his pocket right now?
He hasn't backed since that fight, has he?
Yeah, how much gold is he sitting on? Just give me a number here.
2,300.
You are low. He's sitting on 3,250 gold right now, my friend.
Why?
That is fully completed mythic item right now.
That's real. That's even more impressive then. The amount of damage that was put down in that fight for him to have already been on about 12 to 1,800 gold minimum is impressive.
It is. Finally backing now. So he will come out with a fully completed mythic here, and that's going to spike the damage up to 11.
So I will say this. This used to be a thing. I don't think it is a thing anymore, but it used to be a thing where you actually kind of wanted to come back with a full completed item that you did not have components for before, because they will underestimate the damage that you put out. Because the last time they saw you, you put out, 20 damage, and now you put out 80 damage. But we do see Gruer going into Wookiee Monster under the tower. Is going to use the Chrono Break to come back, and it's still the Chaos Storm just hitting him, and he's trying to go in now, but we do have Grease coming through. That's going to be the Cataclysm. Wookiee Monster does not have any of the escape spells anymore. It's going to go down. We do get In Defiance coming through, and just like that, yeah, like I said, you didn't know he had that damage. He took 50% of the health with like 2 autos and a Q, but it's the tower that did the work.
Yeah, the tower did get the kill for In Defiance there. Mid-tower looking pretty low, will fall here in favor of IC as we see the tank fight in the top lane going along Just Relish's lines. And Fishing Frenzy may have fed his last hook. Just Relish one more auto attack will do it. However,
so even then it took so long, but yeah, he just ran out of mana.
On the other side, though,
stacked.
That is another dragon for Maria's dungeon.
I am pleasantly surprised with what In Defiance has brought to this game. I was notably skeptical on the Graves, and In Defiance said, "Excuse me, sir, I can play carries, I just don't like to." So, that said, right now, almost exactly an even game. Maybe, what is that, a 1,500 gold lead, 1,700 gold lead? What does each team need to do going forward?
Well, the big difference right now that's leading to that gold lead is the fact that during that play, IC took all 3 of the outer turrets. That opens up the map for them. That gives them the ability to get some vision down, to maybe start playing around this Baron, trying to force Maria's to walk forward and take a bad play that could get Indefiance or Expo caught out before the fight begins in earnest. What Maria's needs to do to turn that around is take the outer turrets of their own, put down their own vision lines. Going to be interesting to see which of these teams is more successful there, and a lot of that will ride on Soul Lady and Dr. Dad's control of the vision game.
That is true. And we do see immediately the vision being cleared out. Gruer clearing out the blue trinket, putting down the pink ward. Indefiance doing literally the opposite on the other side of the map. That vision from the Umbral Glaive plus the extra blue trinket wards. Very, very nice. But might get caught out here is fighting both Grease, and Just Relish, rotating down with the rest of the team coming. 4 members there, but is able to just dash away. That is always just so convenient to be like, you used your ultimate, I used the 8-second cooldown. We are not the same.
Yeah,
and just like that.
Cataclysm is a bit of an expensive use here. Will be up in about 60 seconds, but this is a small window where if Maria's wants it, they can look for a fight.
That is true, but it looks like they're going to opt for allowing their solo laners to continue to scale up. We do see them putting Wookiee Monster on, collecting that top lane wave, while Fishing Frenzy continues to just slap it out with Just Relish. There's going to be the flag and drag, but not a whole lot to come back under it for Grease. Again, does not have the Cataclysm, still at about 50% of the cooldown. Wookiee Monster over here hitting Greer. Why do they... We'll discuss that later, because we have another tank fight going on where nobody takes any damage at all, despite both of them using 2 abilities. And there is a fight going on in the river around... not able to get the knockup onto Indefiance, and there's a solid amount of damage, but there's going to come be the tidal wave, is going to be the ultimate used by Indefiance, is trying to get away, is going to be able to take down Grease. It's going to be with a little bit of help from Wookiee Monster, but now we got the Call of the Forge God coming in as the teleport came in from Just Relish, and Soul Lady staying alive for just a little bit, is going to wind up going down, and Gruer cleaning up on the back end, and then able to ult out. It's going to be a 1 for 3, 1 for 4. Imagine Cloud now looking at this Baron. A very well done Call of the Forge God and teleport from Just Relish, allowing Gruer basically to have free backline access to get those extra couple kills.
Yeah, and this should be a fairly safe take. Fishing Frenzy alone does not have the ability to force this team off of the Baron. Best he can do is hope to buy time for the rest of Maria's to get up. Looks like that will not be the case, though. Baron down to 3,000.
He's going to go down.
And Fishing Frenzy is actually just going to fall here.
Yeah.
Tried to bite off more than he can chew. Gruer does fall, so that is 1 Baron that will not be here. And Wookiee Monster might try to find a kill himself. Does not succeed, though.
Maybe could have, but now Grease is here by themselves. Is just going to flag and drag away. Again, I have escapes. I am fine. Seems to be the theme for both junglers, but yeah, that extra Baron, I don't know that it's going to come into play. I assume that they're just going to group Gruer up. I am getting a lot of alliterative, hard syllables today. Okay?
Yeah,
and I don't like it.
It's brain
they're
training.
They're going to group Gruer up with Grease. Why? Why is that a thing? Who decided that?
Just to make you suffer, my friend. That being said, Maria's, for all of their losses in that fight, do have priority over this Drake pit. Looks like they're going to mostly give it up, but if they had wanted, they could have moved through that blue buff jungle and tried to put down some vision. As it is, it looks like Imagine Cloud has the edge there.
Yeah, and we do see the Ornn items coming through as well. We do have the Typhoon now coming down for Taste Greenbean. Is going to be stronger-ish than Expo. Actually might just legitimately be stronger now after that last fight where they got all of those kills. Is going to come through with almost the Infinity Edge, significantly closer to the Infinity Edge than Expo is. So yeah, that is another kind of point you don't want to walk into between the Ornn items and the I need the camera to pick a face. But we do have a little bit of fighting on the flanks as well. Neither team looking to give it up, but it looks like
Maria's Dungeon is going to let this go
they're
and
not
push out mid lane instead, leaving just
can't
in
fight it,
Defiance to try and find a steal. Will have the grit to go over the wall, uses the ultimate. The Drake
it reset a
resets,
little bit.
but will not steal it, and we will see at least one turret going down in favor of Maria's. So that is a little bit of gold back in the pocket at the expense of delaying the Drake soul. Now the question is, can Maria's get out of this without any losses? And it looks like the answer is going to be yes.
Yeah,
No
and they get some objective bounty gold as well. They did prevent dying, and because there's no real threat of a dragon scaling for like another 10 minutes at least, I can understand giving it up and getting that extra bit of gold for your team, especially because that's a whole lot of Baron time that Imagine Cloud did not use.
Yeah. Imagine Cloud down to 20 seconds will have only taken the Drake off of this Baron. That is one of the weakest Baron power plays I have ever seen from a team that was in the lead.
And didn't lose the lead in the middle of the Baron. Yeah. Normally when somebody doesn't get anything off of Baron, it's because they took Baron and then there was a fight and 4 or 5 people died. Not they just legitimately didn't get to do anything. That said, we do see the Shadow Flame coming out from Victor now. Is going to be still about a half an item behind on Brewer on the Echo. Looks like already starting to... Yeah. Oh, almost has enough for the death cap. I thought he was going to have it when he purchased it right there. But it's going to come back with a lot of damage. The advantages are now tangible on the side of Imagine Cloud as far as the damage and the items and the levels as well now, because we do see In Defiance slowly starting to fall behind, Finishing Frenzy 2 levels behind. I think Wookiee Monster will catch up in a second. But yeah, advantages everywhere. What do they need to do? What does Maria's Dungeon need to do now? So we were talking about earlier, and Imagine Cloud took the towers, used that pressure to get Baron, didn't do anything with Baron. What does Maria's Dungeon need to do now to kind of counterpunch the last 8 minutes we've seen from Imagine Cloud?
Vision and picks. Soul Lady.
Speaking of, it looks like they're trying.
Yeah, Soul Lady and In Defiance have to work together to get the Vision out. Looks like they're not going to get the Ornn, who uses the TP to get away here. But they have to get that Vision down. They have to find Taste Green Beans and Grease and Brewer in transition.
So I don't remember if the smoke... I don't think it does.
It does not.
The smoke screen does... Okay, yeah.
Just Relish.
But here we go.
Will be in trouble here. Gets rooted up, gets knocked back. Will try to flash over the wall.
The Bramble Smash knocked him out of the gravity
Expo moving forward, will get the shutdown, but Grease trying to get the re-engage. The Wild Growth keeps Expo alive for just a minute, but Fishing Frenzy is already dead. Can In Defiance carry this fight? Wookiee Monster forced to flash away as well, and that will be the end of this fight. A 2-for-1 in favor of IC.
Yeah, and poorly coordinated in that fight. That Bramble Smash actually knocked Just Relish out of the gravity field. The gravity field would have kept him there under the tower, taking that tower damage. We do get In Defiance now, trying to chase down Grease. Grease able to walk away. But yeah, just a little bit of miscommunication there. If you get on the other side of him and push him back into the tower, or just generally don't push him there with the Bramble Smash, he probably dies a lot faster.
Yeah, and if he dies,
he's further away from the wall.
Yeah, and Expo doesn't have to flash forward aggressively, doesn't die to the return kill from Grease. That was a pick that just went a little bit too far for Maria's. Doesn't look like they're going to get punished too much for it other than the couple of kills. But still, you got to clean that up if you want to win this game here for the side of the dungeon.
I'm going to disagree. They are already getting punished. You see the wards that they were not able to have time to clear, not able to have time to get their own version out now. And now you're resetting, except they can kind of tell where you are. You don't know where they could be unless they hit the vision plant, and now you know.
Yeah, that's one way to kind of ruin your advantage, isn't it?
Definitely gave it away, but we do have Brewer pushing on the bot side as well. Is going to probably get a little bit of tower hitting action. does have a teleport. There are some wards there behind the Baron. Baron's not going to be started off by Indefiance, just clearing that vision. The shotgun, of course, waking up the Baron as a shotgun right beside your head while you sleep is known to do. But not going to cause any other significant problems. But you see now they're starting to rotate down to the bot side. Wookiee Monster steps in. No, my God, he stepped into the stun.
Yeah, got hit by the stun, got hit by the third part of that Hextech Z Drive passive. The Echo does tend to hurt at 3 items, including a Lich Bane, and it looks like IC just wants to walk this in. They say, sure, we'll just let you guys take the vision as long as we can take your turrets. And they'll get one in the mid and likely one in the bot here, as there's no one available to respond to Gruer.
Yeah, I'm a little confused what just happened there.
Oh no, we're gonna get a Baron sneak here.
They're going for the trade. I like it. There's no vision up there. They did just cleared it all out and said, hey, a third Drake for a dragon is actually such a great trade. And it's going down so fast with these here 2 marksmen, so there's not going to be a chance to run up fast.
Nobody knows. There is no one from IC that even thought to look, and that is a completely sneaky Baron that, let me check, yes, even made it onto Wookiee Monster. That is the best of all possible worlds for this Maria's Dungeon team.
Very well done, but I'm still confused by that Wookiee Monster death, because Wookiee Monster stepped out of the circle and it looked like you could see the circle, and then stepped into the circle. When I know you could see the circle at that point, how did you get hit with that parallel convergence? Like, I have questions.
And I do not have answers at this point.
Like, this one is going to trouble me for, like, most of the night. Like, I'm going to go outside, take the dog out, we're going to go for a walk, and I'm going to just still be thinking, like, could he not see it? I know he could see it. He stepped out of it the second it went down, and then stepped into it, like, the second it stuns. Like,
Who knows? Maybe, and this is some 5D chess moment. Maybe the Maria's shot caller said, no, die here so they think they can take Drake.
That might be it. That would actually make the most sense out of everything going through my brain.
I think we're definitely over-analyzing a mistake as in Defiance.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what happens when you defy the jackboots of progress here for Imagine Cloud.
Yeah, so, a death cap. I don't know who needs to hear this. It make you do a lot of damage.
It tend to do that.
If you are, say, a Graves
Lord.
with minimal magic resist, you just go away.
Yeah, his tank item is a Cyrilda's right now. That's not the tankiest tank item on Earth.
Yeah, no.
Oh, Chain of Corruption's come out on Taste Green Means, forces the Flash and the Gale Force defensively.
I like that. Fishing Frenzy did wind up having to use the Flash as well, but that's okay. He does have Twisted Advance, so it's not like he's not going to be able to. And there you go. We see the Gale Force from Expo. It's going to be a whole lot of ults, but there you go. Just get the Cataclysm on the Expo as well. Expo's still staying alive for a very long time, but we get the Call of the Fort God on the back line. Soul Lady's going to go down. Expo trying to get the damage out. It's going to be the Polymorph, and it's going to be the damage. Gru's going to get a kill on the Soul Lady. Well, turn back around. Expo getting the kill onto Grease, and just like that, we are having Taste Green Beans clean up the other side, and now it's just going to be Wookiee Monster and In Defiance, and yeah, he sees it this time.
Yeah, he sure
does.
does.
The flash out from the Victor, getting away from the parallel convergence. But in the meantime, 3 of the members of Maria's Dungeon are going to go down for just the cost of Grease. I think you take that if you are the Jarvan. You jumped in, you blew a flash, you
got the Guardian Angel. That's an important cooldown to not have. And the problem there for Maria's, Wookiee Monster and In Defiance were in China when that fight started. They were nowhere close to the fight, and it took them ages to join it. By the time they got there, Soul Lady was dead, Fishing Frenzy was split from the team, Expo had already used his Guardian's Angel. There was nothing left for them to do but sit and watch.
That is very, very true. Actually, I think Wookiee Monster teleported to the fight and did get an assist. Was there when Grease went down. I'm like 80% sure. But I could be wrong. Could have been an arrow and not a laser. Oh no, Indefiance able to walk out of the Cataclysm though, as now the dragon does matter, and you need to get that vision if you are Maria's dungeon. They are trying to make it Maria's dragon because that dragon soul is going to be really rough. Unlike last time, imagined Cloud, manifested Cloud, and they have a lot of champions that directly benefit from a Cloud soul.
Yeah, we do see Maria's trying to push out Grease, but he is such a slippery snake on the Jarvan with the flag and drag. Can hop over any wall and just make it impossible to do anything. Expo, Chain of Corruption may not be enough. Does get the red buff and manages to get out. Guru will have to likely use the Chrono Shift here, actually waiting to use it as he gets shielded up, gets healed up, and now Fishing Frenzy stuck alone on the backside of this fight. Will use the Nature's Grasp to try and get something. Guru comes very, very close to falling, but will eventually die, not before picking up Wookiee Monster. So this is a 2-for-1 so far. Can Indefiance get out, and can Maria's Dungeon do anything else? Expo in the mid lane. Looks like they're just going to give up this Cloud Soul.
I think they're hoping for an Indefiance steal. And yes, they are just going to try to maybe take an inhibitor tower, maybe take an inhibitor. We do get the
2,500, 2,000 over the wall, and no! Aphelios takes the soul.
Varus has to leave. Varus, yeah, he's not even going to get the tower. That is not an option.
For his life. Indefiance now trying to find Grease, trying to delay these members of Cloud to help his ADC survive, and may have done so, but at the cost of his life.
Yeah, Indefiance not in a happy place. No, buddy. However, it does now look like Pleasantville. Slept on movie from the 80s, or 90s, I should say, and it had a young Paul Walker. But while Indefiance is enjoying the first part of Pleasantville, the rest of Maria's Dungeon is not having a very pleasant experience, and now they have to clear all of these minions while there's still the option when an R comes up for Imagine Cloud. Like now, I thought Grease was going to go in, but he's going to have so much movement speed when he does go in there. We do have the
Chain of Corruption comes out and completely misses. Expo now potentially in trouble. The exhaust goes down and keeps Expo from doing enough damage. The Guardian's Angel popped on to Taste Green Beans. Fishing Frenzy in very deep. Does have enough damage thanks to Wookiee Monster, and Taste Green Beans is the first to fall. It's just Wookiee Monster and Soul Lady, though, as Expo was forced to go back into the base. Wookiee Monster will fall. Can he get out now? Looks like the answer is going to be no, as Expo very fast with the Whimsy on top. And that's going to be the shutdown going over to Indefiance instead. Is the inhibitor worth 2 kills and the loss of Baron pressure here, Rod? What do you think?
I think yes. Because I don't know. I forgot how fast they took it last time. Because no, you have the jungler up though. You have your jungler up this time, and they're on the right side of the map. It takes them not a long amount of time to clear the Baron, but if they don't get it.
They're going for it. J4 completed the back. They have the time. 10,000 health is the Baron already.
How did you not drop any vision on it?
5,000, 4,000. J4 isn't even on the extended screen, and the Baron is going to go down for Maria's once again.
How? They had 3 people there. They didn't clear the pink ward. They didn't drop any vision of their own. Just how? Why?
That's one of those, Rod, where you shake your head and you say, come on, guys. Because there is no defense for that, I feel like.
I can understand if you were out of wards, but you didn't even clear their vision to make them wonder if you have vision. Mind blown. We do get the tidal wave coming out, but it is not going to strike anyone, as there's at least, with the Baron, the ability to hold mid-wave is available for Maria's Dungeon. And I am slowly starting to fear I really did jinx us, because we are nearing 40 minutes in this game, and it is still up for debate.
Rod, Maria's Dungeon has a 12-kill deficit and is down less than 3,000 gold.
Yes, but Indefiance might be down everything. Yeah.
In Defiance
done.
is going to fall. The Nature's Grass comes out, but just Relish looking for the re-engage as the Call of the Forge God misses. So does the Chain of Corruption. Gruer going in very deep
Yeah.
as the
They're gonna have to
Aphelios
back
ult
off.
misses as well. That's a lot of ultimates burned from Imagine Cloud. Can the defensive Baron be enough to keep Maria's alive here?
I think yes, assuming someone else doesn't get caught out. It looks like they're gonna probably lose another inhibitor, but that might be all. Then they still should. Oh no, there's gonna be the Cataclysm coming in. It's going to also be the Hourglass, and a tower goes down, but there is a lot of damage coming back. And now Fishing Frenzy finally goes down. They're trying to get onto Gruer. Gruer unworried. Grease, however, does take a little bit of damage, and there is, like I said, that damage onto the inhibitor tower and some damage onto the inhibitor, but they're not going to get a lot more. Bot lane's pushing out. They're looking to set up, I think, to make them face check into them for the Elder Drake.
Wookie Monster in trouble,
Oh,
getting caught out by
no.
Gruer, who is forced to run away here. Does have the Chrono Shift available as In Defiance goes very deep, and the collateral damage deletes the Echo. No ultimate used, and that is huge. That is a major playmaker off the map for IC for the next 50 seconds, and that's going to change the calculus on this Elder Drake, which is up in 75.
Yeah, we'll be up. We'll have teleport. There
Aphelios
are
forced to cancel
wards.
the back. Dr. Dad forced to cancel the back. No backs completed here. Maria's Dungeon buying a ton of time right now. Might
If they
actually
have-
look to push this all the way in.
No, they're gonna back. I was gonna say if they have enough minions, maybe if they had like another wave with them right there. I thought they also did the opposite of what I would like. They walked all the way past where they were good and did not immediately start putting down any vision or vision clearing apparati.
Oh no. Do you
Around.
see those pings coming down?
Yeah.
Looking for
Yeah,
a
no.
teleport backdoor. All they're going to get out of that is an inhibitor, though, because both Nexus turrets are still up. I
Yeah,
don't
and the
like
waves
that
are not-
play.
And the waves are not close.
Wait, Wookie, please, thank you. This isn't the LCS. You can't get away with letting that go.
The other thing though is that I thought maybe it was going to be a teleport play from Gruer to get behind Wookie Monster and just get the instant kill to make the dragon fight a 4v5, but that is not the decision that is going to be made. And here we go. This is definitely going to be a fight some kind of way by some kind of body. In Defiance trying to get the damage out, and we do see the parallel convergence coming through, trying to oh my god, In Defiance. He was there and then he was gone.
Yeah,
In an
you
instant.
executed me once, I will execute you back, he says. Now the question is, what does Maria's Dungeon do? They can't give up this Elder. They have to push this IC team off, but the Elder is falling so quickly, down under 6,000, down under
I don't like
5,000.
this. I
They're
don't
not
like
going to get
this.
in there quick enough. The Nature's Grass comes through, but Red Team takes the Elder Drake. Now Fishing Frenzy alone
That's
in the
game.
center of IC is dead. Can the Squishies
Yeah,
make it
buddy.
out? The Cataclysm comes through. Grease with the Zanya's Hourglass manages to buy a ton of time. Wookie Monster in trouble as well. Soul Lady is already dead. Wookie Monster falls. It is just the Varus, and it will not be enough unless In Defiance can pull out a miracle here in 15 seconds. We will see the game in favor of Imagine Cloud.
I do not like that at all. The decision to contest that Elder Drake after the jungler is dead, there's nothing you can do.
In Defiance looking for a miracle here, will not find it. The Guardian's Angel popped immediately, doesn't even get out of the GA, which seems like a bit of a bug, but it does not matter. The Nexus explodes, and IC takes the series.
So twice we saw Maria's Dungeon, when faced with the same conundrum, decide to go down mid lane and at least take the. And I understand that Elder Drake is bigger. Elder Drake is bigger. It's honestly the biggest objective you can get in the game. It's even bigger than Baron because you can't defend your base if you're dead, and they die a whole lot faster. But once your jungler is dead, you can maybe leave one person to like try and shoot a laser or shoot an arrow, but why not at least take the inhibitor and reset and like hope you can stall it out, because you're not going to win that fight. Your
I
jungler was also like your number I guess actually technically your number 4 damage, but your jungler was a large portion of your damage. It's very evenly spread out. It's not like it was just like a, like a Malachi jungler, right? Like you need his damage if you're ever going to win that fight. I
Yeah,
am
little bit baffling. Not quite sure why Maria's made the choices that they did. There is a question that I have for you though, Rod, and that is who is your Imagine Cloud player of the game?
I think it was Greece. Greece was so instrumental in that reverse sweep. I understand that it's really easy to look good on jungler when you walk around and you gank everybody because it's like, yeah, nope, made great presence. Why? Because I had to keep saying his name. But nonetheless, did a great job, had great engages, consistently saved all of the cataclysms for important people, forcing out their cooldowns. Yeah, I think it was Greece.
I would tend to agree. Greece throughout the series stepped up and was the reason that his laners were able to take advantages. I mean, Brewer in the last game was 13-4-7. Greece was 1-4, which doesn't look very good on the spreadsheet, but when you see what he was able to do with those 4 deaths, feels a whole lot better. I will
One
personally
one four
raise.
and 27 though. And 27.
I
That's 28 kill participation out of 32 kills in a 40-minute game. My man's was, like I said, he was the straw that stirred the drink.
Yeah, and I will raise some eyebrows at the whole let me purchase a Zanya's on J4, but he used it to pretty good effect. I'll give him that. Speaking of, we have Greece now on the caster's desk coming to chat with us after a reverse sweep victory here in the match against Maria's Dungeon. Congratulations, Greece, and welcome to the desk for the first time this series, or this season.
Oh, thank you.
Were
We are
y'all at all
very
concerned
glad to have you.
after game one?
Of course, yeah. We got blasted.
So
Yeah,
so what was the
sorry.
mentality shift?
So we basically had a pep talk and we're like, so what happened is bot felt pressured to make plays essentially. Like they felt like they had to win lane. And I just told them after the game, because we got first blood that game on top lane, and I was kind of bullying Poppy because that's just how the matchup goes. And so I was like, we don't need to win lanes. We just need to not we just need to go even and get small advantages and play as a team essentially. And so that was the mindset going into the next games.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you played as a team significantly better in game 2 and game 3. That said, I am more concerned in a positive manner. I can't think of the right word.
Interested.
Interested. There we go. Sorry, I got put into dad mode by some of the decisions that were made by your counterparts that I don't know the correct words anymore for happy thinking. But your early game effect that you had in both games was tremendous.
Thank you.
But game 2 or game 3, I should say, it felt like you were putting a lot of effort into being fancier than maybe you needed to be around the bot side.
Being
Question
fancy?
mark.
Like in what way?
So you were kind of pathing the really, really long way around to get a gank on the bot side a few times when they didn't have flashes, before they had Gale Force, when a traditional ganking path may have been open to you.
Sitting there for
I
about
see.
45 seconds, sitting there while the Graves was 2 inches from you, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the mindset there is there's two things. So thing one is I wanted to contain the Graves. So if I just I don't want to take a 3v3 against Graves because if it goes bad, he just outscales me so hard. But he also can never kill me 1v1 in a million years because I just EQ over the entire map. So my thought process is just I want to find him before I do anything, or just make sure he's not waiting to counter gank. And I didn't feel like that one play you're talking about where he was doing Krugs while I'm in the bush. I didn't feel any pressure to get anything done there at all. I was super happy. I was actually up CS. So I was like, okay, either they walk up and I kill them both before he can react, or no, nothing happens. My bot lane's still ahead. They're 2-0. I'm just kind of like making sure nothing can happen to them, like
Sure.
human ward kind of thing. It might not be the right play, but I felt comfortable with that play and how it went, even though it didn't work.
If you can justify it, it's always the right play.
100% correct.
Yeah.
One last question from me before I turn it over to Rodney here for the rest of the interview. Did you guys feel any pressure towards the end of Game 3? Did it feel like Maria's was starting to get a foothold, or were you all confident that you could go ahead and put the foot down whenever you wanted to end that game?
I don't know. We definitely felt pressure. I felt confident that if we took good front-to-back fights, we would always win with Aphelios as big as he is, and like I'm unkillable with Zonius. Orin's gonna get a good ult, and obviously Gruer's like an absolute monster that game. So I felt like if we got good fights, we would always win. But I was nervous of like Varus getting a pick with his ult or something, or us face checking a really dumb spot.
Sure.
Like they definitely could have won the game for sure, especially if they stole Elder or something.
Agreed. And that you actually brought up the thing that we were skeptical about and then pleasantly surprised. That's Zonia's. That was
a unique purchase,
but used so well so many times, and it was so funny because you ulted in and then you're hitting the Varus and Varus is hitting you, and Varus goes into GA and they start hitting you and you just go into Zonia's, and he's still standing there stuck in the Cataclysm. And then something similar happened in the next fight where you ulted the Victor, and Victor hits Zonia's, and you're like, okay, I'll hit Zonia's too, and his ult is just wasted sitting on top of your Zonia's.
Yeah,
is that a normal, or is that a normal permutation, or is that something you were kind of keeping in your back pocket for just this game?
Oh, it's so I wasn't gonna buy Zonia's originally, because I think it's kind of a meme. But what I realized is like every fight, the first 4 engages we had, or like fights or skirmishes, the only person dying was me, and I'm dying in my ult. So I was like, you know what? Because I'm getting like I ult Graves, he Qs and he insta wall bangs because he's in the Cataclysm, and then I'm getting like 3rd stack popped by Varus. So I was like, if I could just not be a champion when he's trying to pop that, and not be a champion when Graves presses Q, like this would be great. So I've seen Malrong do it before.
Okay, saying you've seen Malrong do it is, given his performance in Worlds, maybe a little bit suspect, but
True, but it's been a thing for a while with like super tank Jarvan. I've never seen anyone do it with the Bruiser build, but I figured, you know what? I just think it's the play. So
well, it was a lot of fun, and it gave you guys some 1 fights.
yeah, it was cool.
Very much did. It at least for that game was definitely the big brain play.
I'm glad it worked. I was really hesitant. I was not confident about that purchase, but I wanted to try it, and it felt like it might solve a problem I had in the game. So
absolutely,
I got lucky. It did. It worked.
Any last questions from you, Rodney?
I have none.
Alrighty, Grease, anything you would like to say to your adoring fan in the Twitch audience?
Oh, we have a single viewer. It's probably my wife. Hi, wife.
You've got Gimp Blackslord, apparently, who
Oh, Gimp Blackslord. Oh, hey, what's up, dude? Yeah, but I think we can go all the way. We've made a lot of changes to our team, and we're improving a lot. So we fixed mistakes we would have made in the past in this game. So I think we can win this.
Well, best of luck to you. 3-4 puts you right in the middle of the pack right now. So we will see how you do in the gauntlet that in theory should be happening next weekend. With that being said, thank you for joining us. Congratulations to IC on a nice win to close out the season. And with that, that's going to be the end for us here tonight. Of course, with all the reschedules, we will be bringing Black Twitch League content to you guys every single evening this week. So if you like what you see, hit that follow button so you can get notified every single time we go live. You'll hear a lot of my voice for the rest of this week. That being said, I have been Aulz. For myself, for Rodney, for everyone here at BTL, thank you guys for coming out and supporting these teams. Hope you guys had a wonderful evening with us. Good night, everybody.